Chapter 632. Princess Iron Ox defeated Dragon Gate Club's reserve member, Chen Hongfeng. Does that mean that she has reached the standard of the S tournament? Following these exclamations, someone suddenly shouted. What Princess Iron Ox? Not domineering at all. Let's call her Iron Bull Valkyrie. Then, the shouts of Iron Bull Valkyrie, awesome, drowned the Palace of Radiance. Lin Yuan felt a little melancholic when he heard the new title of Iron Bull Valkyrie. The title of Valkyrie was great, but couldn't the two words, Iron Bull, be removed from it? Lin Yuan didn't dwell too much on this form of address. Instead, he looked at the center of the arena with a burning gaze. It was obvious that the spirit chi had been overdrawn. At that moment, Chu Xi took out a sword from the diamond face storage box to support herself. It could be said that she had pushed herself to her limits in this battle with Chen Hongfeng. And it was this extreme display of strength that brought about a victory that was anticipated by everyone. In this match, she had unleashed her potential in front of the entire Radiance Federation, so she deserved to enjoy the glory that belonged to her alone in the center of 10,000 people. Lin Yuan had indescribable pride in his heart. To some extent, Chu Xi's growth was also the best proof of Lin Yuan's hard work this year. After the challenge match ended, Chu Xi returned to the audience seats and sat next to Lin Yuan. This was equivalent to shifting everyone's attention to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan regretted not wearing a mask. But on the other hand, he was glad that he had not worn a mask. Otherwise, it would be too weird for him to be sitting in front of Chu Xi while wearing Chen Hongfeng's mask after she had just defeated him. Chu Xi looked at Lin Yuan with a burning gaze and said softly. Brother, I won. Lin Yuan put his hand on her shoulder and quietly used spirit injection to help her recover the spirit chi she had consumed. Lin Yuan looked at Chu Xi's raised a hogue and casually pressed it down. Excellent. Behind the silver mask, a sweet smile appeared on Chu Xi's face when she heard the word awesome. It felt good to be able to show off his achievements to the people closest to him. It was even better to receive Lin Yuan's praise. The obsidian iron wild bull had been taken away by the Guild Alliance for treatment. The Guild Alliance would take full responsibility for Fays that were injured during the challenge, and it saved Lin Yuan a lot of trouble. Since Lin Yuan was not wearing a mask and was so intimate with Chu Xi, who had just won, it attracted heated discussions from the audience. This included the members of the club's guild battle teams. At this time, Liang, who was sitting beside Shi, looked very mature. Because he hadn't shaved his beard, he looked more experienced than usual. Liang whispered to Shi as he looked at Lin Yuan, who was helping Chu Xi press down the ahogue on her head. Shi, what do you think of the man sitting next to the silver-masked girl? Shi's mind was filled with thoughts on how to confess to Zhao Xiaochun at night. Therefore, Shi didn't pay much attention to the exciting challenge just now. Now, he suddenly heard Liang ask what a man looked like. Shi quickly pulled away from Liang and said to himself as he tightened his pants without anyone noticing. Could it be that Liang had been single for too long and wanted to find a second way to eat? Shi said perfunctorily. He's quite handsome. Liang took out a mirror and looked at himself. The corners of his mouth twitched as he mimicked the sunny smile of the youth, revealing a mouthful of teeth as he continued to ask Shi. Do I look good when I smile like this? When Shi saw such a bright smile on Liang's weathered face, he felt that it was indescribably strange and somewhat familiar. Shi pondered carefully, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Shi thought of something, which was a cracked old cucumber seed. It was simply too similar to the current Liang. However, Shi immediately became vigilant. Why are you asking me if I look good when I smile? Could it be that Liang is planning to eat nearby after finding a second way to eat? Shi immediately expressed his stance. Liang, I only like Zhao Xiaochun. Shi's words surprised Liang. However, Shirsu's voice was not soft, and it reached the ears of the other Rhine Guild Club members. The other Rhine Guild Club members looked at Shirsu in surprise. Didn't Shirsu previously go bankrupt because of Zhao Xiaochun and have a headache whenever she was mentioned? Why did he suddenly start to like Zhao Xiaochun? Could it be that Shirsu awakened some strange attribute? He started to tremble. With this thought, the other Rhine Guild Club members slowly shifted their gazes away from Shirsu. They turned to stare at Dragon Gate Guild Club's Zhao Xiaochun, who was not far away from the Rhine Guild Club's seats. They discovered that Zhao Xiaochun was currently gnawing on a pig's shoulder that was stewed into mush. She was crazily sucking in the food as though there was no one else around. The Rhine Guild Club members swallowed their saliva. Shirsu deserved to be poor for life. Long Tao and Fang Duo also discovered that the Rhine Guild Club members had their gazes on Zhao Xiaochun. Fang Duo said softly, "Boss, could it be that the Rhine Guild Club members know something and are studying tactics?" Long Tao shook his head decisively and said, "Impossible. Xiaochun's trump card has never been used. It's impossible for outsiders to know about it. Even if the Rhine Guild Club hears some news, it's useless if they don't know about the skills and exclusive skills." When Zhao Xiaochun heard Long Tao and Fang Duo's conversation, she realized that the Rhine Guild Club members were looking at her. Zhao Xiaochun quickly covered the braised pork shoulder in her hand and said to Long Tao and Fang Duo, "They are just greedy. They are just greedy." After the Dragon Gate Guild Club, it was the Rhine Guild Club's turn to compete in the next few matches. However, there was still no explosion of popularity. This was because the lucky spectator chosen by the Rhine Guild Club was actually an old man in his 60s. His strongest contracted fey was only a bronze sharp-toothed hunting hound. The Rhine Guild Club also sent a reserve team member, but the sharp-toothed hunting hound strength made the reserve team member not know how to guide it. On the contrary, the dullness of the duel arena made everyone's gazes continue to stay on Lin Yuan and Chu Ci. Lin Yuan had been running a fey store since he was young and had seen a lot of the ways of the world. He did not care too much about other people's gazes. However, ever since Lin Yuan had come to the royal capital and closed the fey store, he had been staying in the return from faraway manor almost all the time. He usually discussed things on Star Web, which was the same as walking from the front stage to behind the scenes. Lin Yuan, who had walked behind the scenes, was now suddenly being watched by hundreds of thousands of people. He was really not used to it. Lin Yuan could not help but doubt himself. Was he too much of a homebody previously? The first time was even more. End of this chapter. Chapter 633. When everyone saw Lin Yuan and Chu Ci, they also noticed that the person sitting beside Lin Yuan was actually the Radiance 100 sequence number 30, Lu Jie. Lu Jie was the Radiance Federation's hero, and he had a very high reputation in Cold Frost City. Lu Jie's reputation in Cold Frost City was just like Lin Yuan's reputation in Millstone Town. Even though Lu Jie had been silent for 3 years, his popularity had not decreased. Now that Lu Jie had made a strong comeback and obtained the top 30 spots, his popularity was comparable to the top 20 members of the Radiance 100 sequence. Before everyone could guess the relationship between Chu Ci and Lin Yuan, they started to guess the relationship between Lin Yuan and Lu Jie. The discussion became even more interesting. After a few rounds of coaching battles, a few guild clubs had their turn. When it was the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's turn, everyone's attention was pulled back to the arena. After all, the Barbarian Snake Guild Club had killed the Lucky Spectator Challenge Fey at the All-Star match last year. This matter was simply too big. There was no one who didn't want to be selected as a lucky audience member to walk on the stage. They wanted to show their faces in front of the entire Radiance Federation. After all, apart from the 200,000 spectators at the arena, the All-Star match was also being broadcasted on the Star Web. However, now that it was the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's turn to draw the Lucky Spectator Challenge, no one wished to be chosen. Even if they were chosen, they were prepared to forfeit immediately. Otherwise, if the Barbarian Snake Guild Club went crazy and killed their fae, their entire lives would be ruined. At that moment, the Barbarian Snake Guild Club had finished drawing, and Hua Ziyuan shouted, "Congratulations to Lucky Spectator A0217. The Barbarian Snake Guild Club has drawn the Lucky Spectator A0217. When the audience heard Hua Ziyuan's words, they immediately started to look for the unlucky fellow in A0217. Coincidentally, their eyes landed on Lin Yuan, who was beside Chu Ci. Wow, the Iron Bull Valkyrie's little brother was actually chosen by the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. It's really uncomfortable to be chosen by the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. Last year, the Lucky Spectator Challenge Fae was killed. Who can guarantee that this year's coaching battle will be safe? All of you are paying attention to the challenge later. Am I the only one who thinks this little brother is a little handsome? Sob, sob, sob. Lin Yuan didn't realize that he was now being discussed as an unlucky person. When it was Meng Su's turn to draw a seat beside Hua Ziyuan, Lin Yuan narrowed his eyes. When Lin Yuan had heard about Zhang Xiaobai's encounter, he didn't show much hostility toward the Savage Snake Guild Club on the surface. He did not explicitly say that he would help Zhang Xiaobai solve the problem of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. After White Devil had said that she would help Zhang Xiaobai get rid of Xianing, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru's senses that had been stolen by Meng Su's space sense King Gu, Lin Yuan had not mentioned anything about the Barbarian Snake Guild Club to Zhang Xiaobai. It was not that Lin Yuan did not want to help Zhang Xiaobai. If he did not value his friendship with Zhang Xiaobai and the others, he would not have used spiritual ingredients that could subdue Pinnacle Class 3 Creation Masters to heal Lu Pinru, whose soul had been injured. On the contrary, Lin Yuan, who had experienced too much worldly wisdom, knew what he should do to make Zhang Xiaobai feel better when he encountered a problem. Although Zhang Xiaobai had terminated his contract with the Extreme Guild Club, Xianing, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru's contracts were still stuck in the Extreme Guild Club's hands. Zhang Xiaobai and the others' dreams had always been on the S tournament. For the sake of Zhang Xiaobai and the others' careers, it was undoubtedly unwise for Lin Yuan to blow up this matter. However, when Lin Yuan realized that he had been drawn by Meng Su, he immediately narrowed his eyes. Since Meng Su had drawn him, White Devil did not need to waste her efforts to help Zhang Xiaobai get back Xian Ying's, Tan Ran's, and Lu Pinru's senses that had been stolen by the space sense King Gu. At that moment, Zhang Xiaobai's heavy voice came from beside Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan, why don't you just forfeit? The Barbarian Snake Guild Club's popularity has collapsed due to its behavior in last year's All-Star match. During this year's S tournament, the Barbarian Snake Guild Club has been very ruthless toward other Guild Club teams. It even caused a few members to lose their faes in battle. The Barbarian Snake Guild Club's behavior has also helped the Barbarian Snake Guild Club gain some extreme fans. The Barbarian Snake Guild Club might want to go further down this path. It won't be safe even if it's a guidance battle in this time's all-star match. When Zhang Xiaobai spoke, his heavy face hid a strong sense of worry. Zhang Xiaobai knew of Lin Yuan's identity as Black. Every time Black had a star web duel, Zhang Xiaobai would go to the Celestial Stairway video library to watch it a few times without exception. Therefore, Zhang Xiaobai was very clear about Lin Yuan's strength. Moreover, Lin Yuan had undoubtedly displayed his greatest strength during the life-and-death battle outside Millstone Town. During this half a year, Zhang Xiaobai had been rather moved by Lin Yuan's rapid improvement in strength. However, Zhang Xiaobai, who had fought with Meng Su before, also understood Meng Su. Meng Su had two platinum faes. One of them was the space sense King Gu, which was adept at spiritual attacks. The other was the Pangolin armor Scorpion, which was adept at physical melee combat. Its abilities were all highly toxic, and a little of it would cause the entire body to fester. Furthermore, if Meng Su were to use the coiled armor scorpion to engage in close combat, as long as he didn't unleash a fatal blow, not even the tournament organizers would be able to stop him. If his Fae was stabbed by the Nirvana armor scorpion, the Guild Alliance could heal it later. A spirit chi professional's body was far inferior to a Fae's. If he was stabbed by the pangolin scorpion, its venom would invade his bone marrow. Lin Yuan was likely to damage his roots, which would have a great impact on his future life. Lin Yuan saw Zhang Xiaobai stand up. He patted Zhang Xiaobai on the shoulder and said, "Don't worry, it's very safe." Lin Yuan's very safe stunned Zhang Xiaobai. Then, Zhang Xiaobai heard Lin Yuan ask him, "Is everything going smoothly with the Extreme Guild Club?" When Zhang Xiaobai heard this, the corners of his mouth twitched, revealing a sarcastic smile. It went smoothly. When the team leader of the Extreme Guild Club heard that I was going to handle the withdrawal procedures for Xin Ing, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru, he didn't even let me go back for verification according to the procedures. He gave us the green light on the spot and completed the withdrawal procedures within an hour. Lin Yuan saw the sarcasm in Zhang Xiaobai's eyes and felt an inexplicable heartache. Lin Yuan understood that Zhang Xiaobai was not mocking others but himself, who was full of longing for the Extreme Guild Club and struggled day and night. The second was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 634. Lin Yuan looked at Zhang Xiaobai seriously. "I've created a club guild, and the reserve team is still missing 4 people. The dark days of the past cannot be chased. The road ahead is bright and dazzling. Xiaobai, you still have 5 years." After speaking, Lin Yuan turned and walked toward the center of the arena. Zhang Xiaobai had fought hard in the tournament for so many years, but he realized that the number of gazes that had stopped on him was not as many as the number of times he had been by Lin Yuan's side at this moment. Zhang Xiaobai muttered in his heart. The past was dark and unreachable, but the road ahead was bright and brilliant. As he muttered this sentence, Zhang Xiaobai seemed to suddenly see the light of dawn exploding above the dome under the sea of flowers and the remains of the swarm of insects. However, Zhang Xiaobai was mostly worried about Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan treated Zhang Xiaobai as a comrade who had experienced life and death with him. Therefore, Lin Yuan was willing to use his expectations for the future after he had just recovered his sense of spirit qi and discovered that he had contracted Morbius to encourage Zhang Xiaobai. Zhang Xiaobai had the same feelings for Lin Yuan. Lu Jie looked at Zhang Xiaobai, who was standing there and staring at Lin Yuan. "It's Lin Yuan's turn. Let's take his seat first. The Dome Club only has 4 members now, and I'm also one of the main members. Think about it." After Zhang Xiaobai sat in Lin Yuan's seat, Chu Xi also greeted him and said, "Thank you." "Hello, I'm also a member of the Dome Club's reserve team." Zhang Xiaobai was in the lounge of the Extreme Guild Club and watched Chu Xi's battle through the live stream. Upon seeing Chu Xi's burst of combat power, Zhang Xiaobai knew that even 2 of them, who were also defense-type spirit qi professionals, could not compare to Chu Xi. Zhang Xiaobai did not know who the other main member of Lin Yuan's Dome Guild Club was. However, the trio's combat power could faintly reach the standard of a B-rank guild club. Zhang Xiaobai also greeted Chu Xi and found that her tone was light and did not express any worry about Lin Yuan going on stage. He knew that Chu Xi was Lin Yuan's younger sister. When they had gone to the Endless Forest to collect snake venom, Zhang Xiaobai had vaguely seen Chu Xi's appearance through video chat. Zhang Xiaobai could not help asking, "Aren't you worried that Meng Su from the Barbarian Snake Guild Club will go all out?" Chu Xi shook her head. If there was anyone in the world who knew Lin Yuan the best, it might be Chu Xi. She knew that Lin Yuan had always been a cautious person. If he was not fully confident, he might do it, but he would not say it out loud. Just now, Lin Yuan had said that he was very safe, which proved that he was really very safe. Lu Jie was not worried about Lin Yuan's safety at all. Lin Yuan was already very strong, and he still had a sacred source life form as a trump card. Moreover, the mother of Bloodbath and Endless Summer, two suzerain/mythical fays, were sitting in the audience seats. If Lin Yuan was really in danger and the rescuers couldn't handle it in time, the mother of Bloodbath and Endless Summer would take action immediately. Even if Meng Su was 10 times stronger, he was just a child's play in the face of the mother of Bloodbath and Endless Summer's law power. When Meng Su saw the interaction between Lin Yuan and Zhang Xiaobai, he revealed a cruel smile. His eyes sparkled as he looked at the seats of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club members. He looked at a man with curly hair, who was playing with a small green snake. When the man saw Meng Su's gaze, he blinked indifferently. He then spread his hands and made an indifferent expression. Meng Su was in the center of the duel arena, and no small movements could escape the eyes of the 200,000 spectators. At that moment, the discussions in the Radiant Light Palace suddenly doubled. Most of these discussions were filled with worry for Lin Yuan and disgust for Meng Su and the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. Hua Ziyuan's expression became very ugly. For so many years, Hua Ziyuan had been the commentator and host of the S tournament and the All-Star game. Naturally, he hated having black sheep like the Barbarian Snake Guild Club in his work environment. Hua Ziyuan turned to the rescuer standing beside him and said in a low voice, "Old Wang, if there's a huge disparity in strength, you can intervene and stop the match." Old Wang, if there's a huge disparity in strength, you can intervene and stop the match. Don't let this year's All-Star game be tainted like last year's. The rescuer, whom Hua Ziyuan called Old Wang, hesitated for a moment before nodding. If the Spirit Chi professional encounters any dangerous behavior, I will stop it in advance. However, I will only intervene when there are fatal injuries in the collision between fays. Old Wang also had unspeakable bitterness in his heart. The ones who hated the Barbarian Snake Guild Club the most were undoubtedly the Guild Alliance's rescuers. Fang Duo looked at Lin Yuan, who was walking toward the duel arena step by step, and said to Long Tao, "This lucky spectator is probably going to be unlucky. I'm afraid this lucky spectator is going to be out of luck. The Barbarian Snake Guild Club is becoming more and more arrogant. If I encounter the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's team, I think I will go all out and beat them up." Long Tao's mouth curled up as he said to Fang Duo, "Unrighteousness leads to self-destruction. The unjust will bring about their own destruction. In any case, the unlucky one will not be this lucky spectator. As for whether the Barbarian Snake Guild Club will be unlucky or not, it will depend on whether the Barbarian Snake Guild Club is courting death. Given the Moon Empress's temper, anyone who touches the Barbarian Snake Guild Club will die." The Barbarian Snake Guild Club had always been walking on the edge of the S tournament's rules. Even if the Guild Alliance wanted to punish the Barbarian Snake Guild Club, there would always be a reason. After all, in such a real-life battle, a slip of the hand was an all-purpose explanation. However, in the face of a heaven-like existence, a slip of the hand would not work. When Fang Duo heard Long Tao's words, he felt confused. At that moment, the scene in the duel arena caused Fang Duo's eyes to widen. Fang Duo never expected that this youth, who had been chosen as a lucky spectator, would actually choose the challenge match instead of the coaching match. If it was the challenge match, given the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's character, how would they perform? Hua Ziyuan was also stunned for a second after hearing Lin Yuan's choice before announcing Lin Yuan's choice to the 200,000 spectators. Lin Yuan looked rather young, and he had a strong youthful aura. This made Lin Yuan look younger than his actual age. Hua Ziyuan looked at Lin Yuan and felt that he was only 16 or 17 years old. At this age, he was not much different from the number 1 genius, Chu Ci, who had just fought with the Dragon Gate Guild Club's Chen Hongfeng. The first was even younger. End of this chapter. Chapter 635. Although the Barbarian Snake Guild Club was not an A-ranked guild like the Dragon Gate Guild Club, the Barbarian Snake Guild Club was not an A-ranked guild. However, Meng Su was not a reserve member like Chen Hongfeng. Meng Su, the main member of the team, was much stronger than Chen Hongfeng. Under such circumstances, this young man still chose the challenge. If he wasn't courting death, then what was? After choosing the challenge, Lin Yuan, who was standing in the duel arena, calmly ignored the deafening cheers. Lin Yuan looked at the Savage Snake Guild Club's Meng Su and heard Meng Su's sinister expression as though he was about to toy with his prey. "Brat, if you choose the challenge, then bring out your true abilities. Since it's a challenge, naturally, both sides have to go all out. If you don't have the ability to do so, and you still want to blame the other party for your injuries, then that would go against the original intention of choosing the Challenger League." Meng Su spoke in a righteous and awe-inspiring tone, which spread throughout the Palace of Glow through the loudspeaker. Immediately, many of the spectators in the spectator stands became angry. Hua Ziyuan also looked at Meng Su as if he had just eaten a fly. At this moment, Hua Ziyuan was too lazy to introduce Meng Su to the audience. Meng Su's words were shameless to the extreme. Every ticket to the All-Star competition had a chance to be selected as a lucky spectator. This was the privilege that every All-Star match ticket gave to every spectator. It was also a channel for ordinary Spirit Chi professionals to have the opportunity to interact with the S-Tournament celebrity contestants. Naturally, the lucky audience members could freely choose between a challenge match or a tutorial match. According to Meng Su, all the teams had to give it their all in the Challenger League. Even if the future All-Star matches weren't going to be held, all of the lucky spectators would be sent to the infirmary. Lin Yuan looked at Meng Su without any expression on his face. "So you go all out in every battle. It's just that if I still cause damage to my opponent after the battle is over, wouldn't I be trying too hard?" Lin Yuan's voice was calm, and no one would feel anything strange. However, the silver-masked Chu Ci, who was sitting in the audience seats, had a grave expression on her face. From his calm tone, she could feel that he was angry. In her impression, Lin Yuan was usually very gentle, but it did not mean that he would not get angry. She remembered that he had gotten angry once when she was young. At that time, there had been plenty of kids on the street who were younger than Lin Yuan but older than him. When Lin Yuan was cleaning up the usnias and changing the soil, he fainted due to mental exhaustion. She had helped Lin Yuan to take advantage of the rare sunshine in the Xia region to dry a few pots of jasmine lilies, but she had been bullied by a few kids who were slightly older than her. At that time, Lin Yuan happened to wake up. Lin Yuan pulled her over calmly and asked lightly, "Does it hurt?" Then, he calmly looked at the children who were bullying him. Then, he pulled out the wooden board from the shelf and rushed forward. After Auntie Zhang and Uncle Li found out about this matter, Lin Yuan had to take out the 1,500 Federation dollars that the Fei store had saved last month as compensation. From then on, she knew how terrifying Lin Yuan, who usually never lost his temper, was when he really lost his temper. In Chu Ci's eyes, although Lin Yuan had grown up and was no longer the youth he had been back then, he was still a young man. But now, Lin Yuan's tone and expression were exactly the same as back then. When Meng Su heard Lin Yuan's words, he was slightly startled. Then, he revealed a sinister smile and said, "I am a hard-working person. I'm a hard-working person. Please forgive me if I overdid it in this match." Hua Ziyuan had noticed that Lin Yuan had a Class 2 Creation Master crest on his clothes. He started to explain the Class 2 Creation Master crest on Lin Yuan's chest. Hua Ziyuan was secretly amazed at Lin Yuan's Creation Master talent. He was already a Class 2 Creation Master certified by the Creation Master Association at such a young age. However, when Hua Ziyuan heard Lin Yuan and Meng Su's conversation, he broke out in cold sweat. While speaking, Meng Su looked at the barbaric Snake Guild Club seats and saw his captain glaring at him. Meng Su immediately realized that he had said the wrong thing. Even though what he said just now was very implicit, the audience in the stadium were not fools. Although he would not be punished by the Guild Alliance with such reserved words, if he went overboard, it would still be used against him. When Meng Su had selected the lucky spectator to see Lin Yuan and Zhang Xiaobai's interaction, he had already had thoughts about Lin Yuan. Now that the Barbaric Snake Guild Club was standing in the limelight, it wouldn't be appropriate to kill the lucky spectator during the all-star match. Meng Su calculated in his heart. Even if he didn't do anything to Lin Yuan, he had to make sure that Lin Yuan's contracted Fei wouldn't be able to get up from the ground. Meng Su was very confident in his contracted Fei, the Coiled Armor Scorpion. As long as the Fei's grade was lower than the Coiled Armor Scorpion by a major grade, once it was infected by the Coiled Armor Scorpion special toxin, it would be destined to suffer damage to its roots. Furthermore, if it was infected for a long time, even a high-class creation master wouldn't be able to fully recover. Meng Su looked at Lin Yuan's age and didn't think much of him. There were geniuses in this world, and there was already a genius who had defeated the Dragon Gate Guild Club's Chen Hongfeng in this all-star match. How could there be a second genius? Meng Su circulated his spiritual energy and summoned his two Feis. Lin Yuan looked at the two Feis that Meng Su had summoned and immediately used true data to check them. Fei name, Theft Sensation King Gu, Fei species, Cicada/Polyptera, Fei grade, Platinum, 8 out of 10, Fei type, Spiritual, Fei quality, Legend abilities Frowny Face Olfactory Deprivation. The Theft Sensation King Gu uses its powerful spiritual energy to seal off the target's sense of smell. Visual deprivation causes the target to lose their sense of sight through the powerful spiritual energy in the body. During visual deprivation, the target's eyes will enter a blind state and lose their sense of light elements. Tactile paralysis deprives the body of any sense of sensation through the powerful spiritual energy in the body. Taste shackles causes the target to lose their sense of taste through the powerful spiritual energy in the body. Forced illusion causes the target to produce the truth that they don't dare to face in the depths of their heart and fall into the illusion caused by the truth. Exclusive skill Frowny Face Sense Body Shell. The Theft Sensation King Gu can seal up to 5 of the 5 senses that have been forcibly hallucinated in its body. The second one is even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 636. Fei name, Coiled Armor Scorpion, Fei species, Sand Scorpion/Needle Tail Scorpion, Fei grade, Platinum, 8 out of 10, Fei type, Poison, Fei quality, Legend abilities Frowny Face Puncture Hook. The scorpion's tail pierces the target and causes a puncture effect. The pierced target's flesh will enter a swollen state and form pustules inside the flesh. The sealed wound will not let blood flow out. Once the pustules inside the flesh rupture, it will corrode the target's entire body with poison. Dual sanction pincers. The pincers have a bone-crushing effect. After clamping on the target, the pincers can break the target's bones and flesh into pieces. Tough shell insect body. A large amount of calcitonin is attached to the carapace, increasing the carapace's thickness. The carapace has a high probability of resisting damage from the armor-piercing effect. Stinging hair shot. When the scorpion's tail is swung, the stinging hair on the scorpion's tail will shoot out. The ejected stinging hair has a puncture hook effect. Insect body multiplication burns the vitality within the body and spreads the vitality to the surface of the body to increase the insect body's size. Exclusive skill Frowny Face Rotting Flesh Blood Poison. When the venom enters the target's body, a portion of the venom will quickly dissolve in the blood to form blood poison. It will spread along with the blood flow to every part of the body's flesh and organs, causing a comprehensive corrosion. After seeing Meng Su's 2 contracted phase true data, Lin Yuan was slightly conflicted. He was not conflicted about Meng Su's Platinum 8/Legend Theft Perception King Gu and the Coiled Armor Scorpion strength. Instead, he was conflicted about his identity. Lin Yuan might only have 2-star web accounts, but he had 3 identities. One was Black, who was wearing a silver mask made by Genius Tool Transformation. He was a combat class Spirit Chi professional. The first was his identity as a Class 2 creation master that had appeared on the competition stage. The other was a strange mask with the majestic Sky City's pattern. He was the City Lord of Sky City. During the fight, Lin Yuan would undoubtedly expose Black's identity as a combat class Spirit Chi professional. As for the Sacred Source life form, Sacred Sword embracing Queen Sword Art's ability to manipulate laws and willpower, it would undoubtedly be able to easily defeat the Theft Perception King Gu and the Coiled Armor Scorpion. Although this was a good way to test the strength of the sword-wielding monarch. However, as long as he was not a fool, he would not expose one of his life-saving trump cards in such a situation. On one hand, using the Sacred Source life form, the Sacred Sword-wielding queen would consume the laws and willpower stored in the queen dress. On the other hand, if he used a Sacred Source life form in front of 200,000 spectators, it would be the same as telling the world that he possessed a Sacred Source life form. The Radiance Alliance's Class 5 scholars were not to be trifled with. The 5-star scholar's deduction would undoubtedly expose a portion of the Sacred Source lifeform's abilities. Lin Yuan had not been willing to expose Black's identity because he did not want to walk to the front of the stage and receive too much attention and disturbance. Even now, it was the same. However, if he had to choose, exposing Black's identity was better than exposing the Sacred Sword-wielding princess. As for the sensation-stealing King Gu that looked like a cicada and was covered in an orange carapace, it clearly had 6 pairs of wings, but it could not fly. There was a huge coiled armor scorpion with a thick black carapace and a huge hook on its tail that flickered with a cold light. Lin Yuan felt that there was nothing particularly eye-catching about it. The sensation-stealing King Gu controlled the 5 senses and relied on its massive spiritual energy. This was similar to Lisant's contracted pain illusory fox's ability to make people feel intense pain through spiritual energy. However, there was no doubt that the pain illusory fox was much stronger than the sensation-stealing King Gu in Lin Yuan's heart. Although the pain illusory fox's method of controlling pain was too simple, compared to the sensation-stealing King Gu, which deprived the body of the 5 senses. The pain illusory fox's sit was undoubtedly more brilliant for inflicting damage on the mind. The sensation-stealing King Gu did not have the ability to kill, but it had so many tricks up its sleeves. Its 4 abilities controlled the 5 senses. In the end, it only had the effect of controlling the 5 senses. While the pain illusory fox exerted pain on the target to control the target, it could also cause a serious impact on the mind and mind. As for the exclusive skill, Sense Body, which stored the other person's 5 senses, it was of no help to the sensation-stealing King Gu in battle. Instead, it could only use underhanded means to play some tricks outside the finals. This made the sensation-stealing King Gu lose an exclusive skill in battle and become a failure. The Platinum 8/Legend Coiled Armor Scorpion could only be considered average. Among the many Platinum Phase that Lin Yuan had seen, due to its comprehensive defense, attack, and speed, it could barely be ranked above average. The sensation-stealing King Gu and the Coiled Armor Scorpion had reached Platinum/Legend but had not become fantasy breeds. Lin Yuan could see how stupid Meng Su's talent was in the S tournament, where prodigies gathered. Lin Yuan asked Meng Su indifferently. "It's painful not being able to comprehend the willpower rune, right? You always work too hard in the competition. Why don't you work hard when it comes to comprehending the willpower rune?" Most of the audience was worried about Lin Yuan's choice of a challenge match. Of course, there were also some barbaric Snake Guild Club fans who thought that Lin Yuan was overestimating himself by choosing a challenge match against Meng Su. However, when they heard Lin Yuan's calm words through the loudspeaker, they were dumbfounded. The audience could not help but stare with their mouths agape. What a stab in the heart! Meng Su was also startled when he heard Lin Yuan's words, and his face immediately turned livid. Meng Su was already 29 years old this year, and he would have to retire from the tournament in a year at most. For so many years, Meng Su had dreamed of comprehending a willpower rune. But how could willpower runes be so easy to comprehend? If hard work was useful, then there would be no definition of a genius in the Radiance Federation. Even Chu Ci, who was widely rumored to be the #1 genius on the star web, was called the #1 genius. It wasn't just because she had a bronze/legend ox species Fae. This bronze/fantasy breed Fae proved that Chu Ci had comprehended a willpower rune at the age of 15. Lin Yuan had touched Meng Su's sore spot, but before he could say anything, Lin Yuan continued calmly. Even if you comprehend the willpower rune, your two main Faes have reached platinum, and their potential is limited. The tournament is a gathering of geniuses, and most of the B-rank guild club members have fantasy breed Faes. It must be tough, right? So hard that you always have some bad ideas? First time even more. End of chapter. Chapter 637. Meng Su didn't even let out a breath, and his face was flushed. Meng Su had a fiery temper, and now that Lin Yuan had angered him, he felt his lungs hurting. In front of 200,000 spectators, no matter what Meng Su did, the Barbarian Snake Guild Club and the faction behind it would bear the consequences. However, his strength and potential were being questioned in front of 200,000 people. If he didn't do something, he wouldn't just lose face in the Radiance Federation. Even in the Barbarian Snake Guild Club, he would become a joke. Meng Su yelled furiously. Do you know what strength is? Kid? Today, I'll show you what true strength is. As soon as Meng Su finished speaking, a huge fat worm emerged from the ground in front of him. The moment the fat worm crawled out, the curly-haired Barbarian Snake Guild leader cursed inwardly in his seat. Meng Su is really an idiot. He actually summoned his trump card, the body-dissolving sandworm, after being provoked by a few words. Lin Yuan looked at this huge worm that had drilled out from under the arena and used true data to check its attributes. Fae name, body-fusing sandworm, Fae species, powder beetle/arthropod, Fae grade, platinum, 7/10, Fae type, source, Fae quality, legend abilities Frowny Face dual fusion, absorb 2 types of Faes into the body-fusing sandworm's body and use it as a medium to fuse the 2 types of Faes into a combined Fae that has the combat power of the 2 Faes. Lethal weapon retention, the body-fusing sandworm's body is preserved on the fused insect's body. Gather body, the body-fusing sandworm will consume a large amount of nutrients to strengthen its body. It can fuse 2 types of Faes that are slightly higher than its own grade. Calcium mutual dissolution, fuse the bones of 2 types of Faes tightly. Be it the exoskeleton or the internal skeleton, they will form a whole body without cracks. Overdrive fusion, the body-fusing sandworm stimulates the energy in its body and sacrifices a large amount of energy to fuse the 2 Faes instantly. Since it is an instant fusion, the consumed energy will be removed within 5 minutes. After removing the fusion, the body-fusing sandworm will enter a weakened state. Exclusive skill Frowny Face Body Fusion Amplification, use the body fusion sandworm as a medium to fuse 2 Faes. The body fusion sandworm's energy will be used as a hormone to stimulate potential, increasing the strength of the fused Faes by 10%. At first glance, he was sure that this Platinum 7/Legend body fusion sandworm was a source-type lifeform with special abilities. At this moment, Lin Yuan heard Meng Su shouting with a livid expression. Sandworm, use double body fusion. Converge with hyperdrive. Then, he saw the Platinum 7/Epic body fusion sandworm's body expand. It swallowed the sensory-perceiving king parasite and the coiled armored scorpion. After swallowing the theft sensation King Goo and the coiled armor scorpion, the body fusion sandworm wriggled its body quickly. Then, the important organs of the theft sensation King Goo and the coiled armor scorpion appeared on the surface of the body fusion sandworm skin one after another. A large number of organs moved as the body-fusing sandworm acted as a medium to fuse the theft perception King Goo and the coiled armor scorpion together. It perfectly fused the theft perception King Goo and the coiled armor scorpion. Lin Yuan looked at the monster that appeared in front of him and carefully sensed it. He found that this monster's strength had faintly reached Platinum X/Legend. After the fusion was completed, Lin Yuan heard Meng Su's loud command again. Body fusing sandworm, use body fusion amplification. Coiled armor scorpion, use insect body multiplication. Following Meng Su's command, Lin Yuan saw the body-fusing sandworm as a medium to fuse the 3-meter-long monster that was the theft perception King Goo and the coiled armor scorpion suddenly expand. It expanded from its original 3-meter-long length to nearly 6-meter long. After this monster's body expanded, its body clearly stimulated a large amount of vitality. This vitality attached to the monster's body surface, causing the strength of the theft perception King Goo and the coiled armor scorpion to rise again. It even caused a thin layer of flame to rise on the monster's body surface due to the huge amount of energy in its body. The sudden change caused the audience to exclaim, "Wow! This handsome little brother won't be hurt by this disgusting big worm, right? If that's the case, I'll die of heartache. Are the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's people sick? They're clearly fighting a challenge, but they're even more serious than during the exhibition match. What is the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's Meng Su trying to do? Big brother, let's stop fighting. Give up. Why don't you go to the lantern show with me during the new year?" When Chu Xi heard this, her mouth twitched. She wondered if these aunties who wanted to go shopping with Lin Yuan were out of their minds. Chu Xi knew that Lin Yuan would not say something he was not confident about. Since he had said it, he must have a card up his sleeve. However, when Chu Xi sensed the strength of the fused insect species monster, she clenched her fists tightly. Behind the silver mask, her face revealed an uncontrollable look of worry. Lin Yuan raised his brows slightly as he looked at the transformation of the theft perception King Goo and the coiled armor scorpion. This monster's strength was now almost at the limit of Platinum X/Legend. However, there was a huge gap between the Platinum level and the Diamond level. A large rank might not mean much to geniuses, but to mediocre people, it was an insurmountable chasm. However, even though Meng Su's monster had yet to reach the diamond grade, it wasn't far from it with the help of its various exclusive skills. Lin Yuan watched as Meng Su used his trump card to fuse the steel perception King Goo and the coiled armor scorpion with the body-fusing sandworm. There was no longer any confusion in his heart. Lin Yuan immediately stopped his plan to let the source sand, which was usually used as a cuff, drill into the dual arena to create a large amount of sand. Meng Su looked at his body-fusing sandworm as a medium, the theft perception King Goo, and the coiled armor scorpion, and laughed out loud. He looked straight at Lin Yuan and spoke in a cold voice. "Kid, since it's a challenge, you'll attack first. After you attack me, I'm going to give you a taste of the feeling that you can't see, your ears can't hear, your mouth can't taste, and your body can't touch. You will be mired in the illusion made of endless painful memories and be pierced by the tail of a scorpion in reality." Meng Su's words caused the atmosphere to tense up. However, at that moment, a red energy beam filled with vitality danced lightly on Lin Yuan's fingertip. The second one was even more powerful. End of this chapter. Chapter 639. Meng Su also felt that he was about to regain control over the fused Fey. Meng Su quickly yelled out and commanded. Quickly use olfactory deprivation. Visual deprivation. Tactile paralysis. Taste imprisonment. forced hallucination, and stinger shot. With Meng Su's command, Hua Ziyuan's heart immediately jumped. The contestant also started to inject spiritual power into the plum rain mollusk's body, preparing to shoot out the stinger shot. He immediately propped up the plum rain heart wall in front of him to resist the damage caused by the coiled armor scorpion's stinging hair barrage. Every stinger shot by the Nirvana scorpion stinger bullets had the effect of a piercing hook. Fays had strong physiques, and they could still be healed if the stinger shot pierced their bodies. If a spirit chi professional was hit, even if the stinger shot wasn't fatal, the rotting flesh poison on the stinger shot would be enough to cause the spirit chi professional's flesh to fester and die in a short time. Meng Su's order could be said to have given Lin Yuan the order to kill him in front of everyone. Just as the fused insect species monster was about to break away from the fasciated flower stand and release heal, a thicker and brighter life force energy beam shot out from Lin Yuan's hand. It continued to land on the perception theft King Gu and the pellicle scorpion. Under the frenzied extraction of this thick red vitality, the Fey formed by the fusion of the steel perception King Gu and the cradled scorpion was aging at a speed visible to the naked eye. At the same time, its plump body was shriveling up. This was a sign that a large amount of life force was being extracted from its body. The crystallized main flower's heel reflected the life force from the huge monster's body, causing a layer of green, fog-like ripples to appear on Lin Yuan's body. The entire venue was silent, and even Hua Ziyuan didn't know how to comment on the match. The challenger didn't even summon his Fey and was toying with his opponent's Fey. His opponent's Fey was clearly being extracted with a large amount of life force, but it was still letting out joyful chirps. Under everyone's attention, the youth in the middle of the arena was like a god. Lin Yuan didn't expect the crystallized main flower's heel to be so powerful. It had extracted 1/3 of the perception theft King Gu and the pellicle scorpion's life force. It could be said that the crystallized main flower's ability to extract life energy was 3 times that of the embellished flower stand. However, they couldn't be compared like that. After all, the embellished flower stand had more area of effect attacks than the crystallized main flower. At this point, Meng Su was already panicking. As a contractor, he couldn't even control his contracted Fey. How were they supposed to fight this battle? Life energy was the root of all living things. Although life force could be replenished, the loss of a large amount of life force in a short period of time would cause irreversible damage to the Fey. Lin Yuan looked at Meng Su calmly. With a wave of his hand, he used the spiritual power in his body to make the jasmine lily's crystallized main flower use heal again. It landed on the insect monster's body, which was already in an extremely bad condition. Once again, he used the crystallized main flower's heal ability. This time, it wasn't just the extraction of a large amount of vitality that made the fused insect monster age and weaken. Instead, it was as if something in his body had shattered, and his aura had weakened significantly. In the seats of the Rhine Club, the twin-tailed girl said softly. A large amount of vitality has been lost. The 3 Fays of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's Meng Su should have fallen in quality. Shi Su did not feel the slightest regret when he heard this. Instead, he smiled happily. If it were me, I would have electrocuted such a black sheep to death with my thunder mulberry. When Meng Su sensed the changes in his Fey, his face immediately broke out in a cold sweat. Even though he was looking at Lin Yuan with hatred, Meng Su didn't dare to be careless. He turned around and yelled anxiously at the referee. "Hey! I admit." Before Meng Su could finish his words, a tiny red energy landed on him, causing him to stop what he was about to say. Instead, it fell into an extremely joyful mood like the insect species Fey it had fused with and giggled foolishly. At this moment, the referee was hesitant to intervene in the match. Lin Yuan turned his head and said to the rescuer. "Senior," what he wanted to say was that I'm getting serious. The referee was still hesitating at first, but after hearing Lin Yuan address him as senior, he looked at Meng Su again. After thinking for a while, he said. I will only intervene when the lives of both parties are in danger, Yi Futian said. After saying that, the referee stood still on the spot. It was obvious that he had no intention to intervene. If it was someone else, the referee might have already intervened. Meng Su obviously didn't have the ability to resist at all. Even the right to admit defeat depended on whether the opponent was willing to give it to him. However, Meng Su had killed a lucky spectator's Fei during the challenge last year. He had also injured and killed other teams' Feis during this year's round-robin tournament. If it wasn't the critical point of the rules, the referee wouldn't want to save Meng Su. When Lin Yuan had entered the arena and seen the Theft Perception King Gu's true data, he had already decided not to let Meng Su go. The Theft Perception King Gu's exclusive skill, Existential Shell, could seal the 5 senses of the Spirit Chi professional and cause them to fall into the forced illusion of the Theft Perception King Gu's platinum ability. The most painful thing in life was to face the truth that one didn't dare to face. Inside the treatment center, Xin Ying, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru had lost their 5 senses. They were still trapped in the mental torture. It was fine for Xin Ying and Tan Ran. However, Lu Pinru's soul was injured. While she had to endure the pain on the soul level, she actually had to face something that she didn't dare to face. Under such double torture, if Lu Pinru's mind wasn't firm enough, her soul might collapse, resulting in death. Lin Yuan was very glad that he had followed Zhang Xiaobai to the treatment center to save Lu Pinru. 2 streams of red life force, one thick and one thin, continued to suck away at Meng Su's life force. Meng Su's life force continued to weaken as he smiled. With the body-fusing sandworm as a medium, the Theft Perception King Gu and the Nirvana Armor Scorpion's aura was also falling. This indicated that the body-fusing sandworm, the Theft Perception King Gu, and the Nirvana Armor Scorpion's quality was constantly declining due to the massive loss of vitality energy. A young man with curly hair from the Barbaric Snake Guild Club had a gloomy expression. Just as he was about to get up, a pair of delicate, pale hands with dark green fingernails grabbed his arm. The second one was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 640. A delicate but cold voice rang out. Captain, Meng Su is already crippled. Why do you care about him? Even if you make a move to stop this duel now, you will only save a piece of trash whose source is damaged and whose 3 platinum phase have fallen to normal. The curly-haired young man's expression froze when he heard this. He glanced sideways at the girl with dark green fingernails and began to ponder. The woman with dark green fingernails continued. Captain, I've always been the commander of the team. Over the past year or so, did you notice that Meng Su was the one who dealt the finishing blow for every single one of our overboard actions? Especially every time I kill other Spirit Chi professionals' phase. Now that Meng Su is in trouble, we, the Barbarian Snake Guild Club, can sacrifice our son to save the Rook. We'll push all the blame onto Meng Su. In any case, whenever Meng Su relied on the Theft Perception King Gu's exclusive skill to earn money, he never thought of us. When the curly-haired young man heard this, he looked at the girl with green nails and said meaningfully. Seeing, you've been plotting against Meng Su for a long time, haven't you? As he spoke, the curly-haired young man had already returned to his seat. It was unknown which words of the green-dyed woman had moved him. In any case, he had no intention of stopping the competition to save Meng Su. The girl with green nails giggled. Only fools will be schemed against. It wasn't me who schemed against Meng Su. Meng Su was just too stupid. Just then, a plum rain heart wall enveloped Meng Su, the body-fusing sandworm, the Theft Perception King Gu, and the coiled armor scorpion. On the other side of Mei Yu's heart wall, Meng Su, the body-fusing sandworm, the Theft Sensation King Parasite, and the coiled armor scorpion also felt the red life force being cut off. He recovered from his state of bliss and fell directly onto the ice-cold ground of the dueling arena. Meng Su's hair had already turned white, and his skin was covered in wrinkles. Meng Su looked like a withered old man due to the large amount of life force he had lost. The bodies of the body-fusing sandworm, the theft sensation King Gu, and the coiled armor dragon scorpion shrunk to 1/3 of their original size, becoming like dried insects. As Hua Ziyuan announced that Lin Yuan had won the challenge, the Radiant Light Palace's roof was about to be pushed up with cheers. His momentum wasn't inferior to Chu Ci's when she defeated Chen Hongfeng. Fuck, Who the hell was this handsome guy on the stage? How could he be so strong? Why haven't I heard of it before? Well done, Meng Su from Barbarian Snake Club. What the heck was with this tournament organizer? Why did he have to interfere and save Meng Su? Mind your own business. It would be great if Meng Su could never get up. This challenge match is simply a one-sided suppression. However, summon your fae. I really want to know what this little brother has contracted. This time, he had used the Platinum I/Fantasy 3 Jasmine Lily, a trump card that he had not shown before, so he did not expose Black's identity. It could be said that Lin Yuan had been full of mystery from the start of the challenge to the end. It was like a layer of fog that people couldn't see clearly. The more they couldn't see clearly, the more they wanted to explore. As he listened to the overwhelming cheers for him, the corners of Lin Yuan's mouth curled up. Lin Yuan suddenly felt that perhaps walking up the stage was also a good choice. At this moment, Lin Yuan seemed to understand why so many Spirit Chi professionals were so obsessed with the S tournament. Before Lin Yuan walked to the audience seats, he took one last look at Meng Su. He felt that Meng Su was not only hateful but also a little pitiful. It wasn't because of Meng Su's strength or his current body that was pitiful. It was because Meng Su was a contestant of the S tournament and was born to face Starlight and the competition. He should have raised his head fearlessly and faced the hardships of the battle and the praises after winning the competition. But when Meng Su fell to the ground in the middle of the all-star competition, all he received was the scolding of the audience. How ironic was that? Everything he had done so far had been for naught. Just as Lin Yuan returned to his seat, Xin Ning, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru opened their eyes at the same time. When Lu Pinru opened her eyes, she felt that she was bursting with energy. After all, the cold snow pine's cold snow rosin had nourished Lu Pinru's soul and also soothed her mind. However, when Xin Ning and Tan Ran opened their eyes, they felt physically and mentally exhausted. They had been trapped in the depths of their hearts and didn't dare to face the truth. Now that they had woken up, they still felt an indescribable sadness. At this moment, the three of them heard an old voice singing at the top of his lungs. What kind of man are you? What kind of man are you? You watched her leave and didn't do anything. How naive are you? Don't force yourself. I expected you to redeem yourself, but you gave it up. This song wasn't anything special. It was a song that Starweb's sparrow voice Lowly Goddess had sung during her live stream. Once this song was released, many female Spirit Chi professionals became die-hard fans of the sparrow voice Lowly Goddess. It could be said that this song had sung into the hearts of middle-aged and elderly women. It was a good song, but this old man was singing and laughing at the same time. He was also using his hands to pour all sorts of elixirs from the porcelain bottles on the table into the trash can like garbage. It looked rather strange. At that moment, Master Hongshan turned around and was preparing to stretch his body. However, he realized that Xin Ning, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru had already sat up and were looking at him. Master Hongshan was so frightened that he couldn't even catch his breath. Choking on his saliva, Master Hongshan started coughing violently. Master Hongshan coughed so hard that his face was flushed red. He clutched his heart and screamed. Can't the three of you make a sound when you wake up? This old man's soul has just recovered. Are the three of you not happy for this old man? Are you planning to scare this old man to death? Xianing, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru's eyes lit up when they heard Master Hongshan's words. Xianing asked in pleasant surprise, "Grandpa Hong, your mental injury has healed?" Apart from accepting missions from the Extreme Guild Club, Xianing, Zhang Xiaobai, and the others had been working with Master Hongshan to help him collect spiritual ingredients. They had been acquaintances for nearly 10 years. Upon hearing that Master Hongshan's soul injury had healed, Xianing was genuinely happy. When Master Hongshan heard Xianing's words, he was still rubbing his heart. However, a bright smile had already appeared on his face. Master Hongshan looked at Xianing, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru with a hint of gratitude in their eyes. "I have to thank you three brats for being able to heal the soul injury that has been troubling me for the past 15 years. If it weren't for the three of you, Zhang Xiaobai wouldn't have brought my benefactor over." Tips for Hua Luo and Yen Gui. Thanks to the book friends who gave suggestions for this book. Thank you very much. Button wants to write a good book and will absorb everyone's suggestions to slowly improve. He will hone his writing skills and get better. He will work hard to write a story that belongs to the Radiance world and Lin Yuan. End of this chapter. Chapter 641. Master Hongshan's words made Xianying's mind confused. Even though Zhang Xiaobai had always been reliable in crucial moments, this matter involved Meng Su, a core member of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. Even if Zhang Xiaobai was reliable at critical moments, logically speaking, he couldn't do much in this matter. After speaking with Xianing, Master Hongshan walked to Lu Pinru's side and asked her, "Do you feel anything strange about your soul?" As he spoke, Master Hongshan cast an envious glance at Lu Pinru. At that time, due to Lu Pinru's 5 senses being lost, Lin Yuan could not judge whether her soul injury was completely healed based on her reaction. Therefore, when he was healing Lu Pinru, he did not care about the consumption of the cold snow rosin. In order to ensure that Lu Pinru's soul could recover, he increased the amount of frigid snow rosin he used. In Master Hongshan's opinion, Lu Pinru's soul injury was very light. It was incomparable to his 15-year-old chronic illness. However, Lin Yuan's consumption of cold cedar rosin for Lu Pinru far exceeded his consumption. What an enviable relationship. After Lu Pinru woke up, she felt very comfortable in the depths of her mind, as if something was constantly nourishing and protecting her. Lu Pinru still remembered that she had been instructed by Wei Chong to help block the soul-crushing spike of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's main team captain's Fei, the soul-shattering hedgehog. Logically speaking, with his strength, a soul-crushing thorn should have left a visible wound on his soul. But now, not only was the deepest part of his soul not damaged, it was also abnormally comfortable. When Master Hongshan saw Lu Pinru's expression, he knew that Lu Pinru's soul had been nourished and strengthened by the Coldsnow pine incense. In a sense, the strength of her soul was equivalent to increasing Lu Pinru's chances of comprehending the willpower rune. Master Hongshan sighed. "Pinru lass, you have to thank Lin Yuan in the future. I really envy your friendship. Lin Yuan is actually willing to use spiritual ingredients from a suzerain/myth breed Fei to heal your soul injuries." Hearing Master Hongshan's words, Xianing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran, who were initially confused, immediately understood what was going on. It turned out that Zhang Xiaobai had gone to find Lin Yuan for help. However, when they heard that it was a spiritual ingredient from a suzerain/myth Fei, they still felt inexplicably horrified. At the same time, a warm feeling welled up in his heart. The spiritual materials of such a suzerain/myth breed were priceless treasures, and the comrade who had fought with them valued them more than priceless treasures. Master Hongshan looked at the half-tidied-up treatment center and said, "Since the three of you have recovered, you are no longer patients. Come and help this old man clean up the treatment room." Also, put your phase back into the spiritual spatial zone. Xin, your golden shadow swift cat has already scratched 2 of my chairs. This old man will also mix a bowl of essence qi replenishing spirit liquid for you to consolidate. After saying that, Master Hongshan walked into the cultivation room that he had already tidied up. Looking at the spotless breeding room, Master Hongshan was suddenly not used to it. He felt that the cultivation room was more messy and more comfortable to look at. Master Hongshan took out a few basic spiritual ingredients that could replenish vitality from the diamond face storage box on his wrist and concocted spirit fluids that even Class 1 creation masters could concoct with proficiency. Master Hongshan, who was circulating the spirit qi to concoct the spirit fluid, felt a throbbing in the depths of his soul. In a daze, his soul power and spirit qi seemed to mix together and be injected into the spirit fluid, stirring up the medicinal properties of the spirit fluid. After a momentary throbbing in his soul, Master Hongshan looked at the spirit fluid on the table and his hands. His old face grinned and revealed a few buck teeth. He was obviously smiling, but 2 drops of turbid tears rolled down from Master Hongshan's eyes. Master Hongshan didn't expect happiness to come so quickly. After recovering from the damage to his soul that had troubled him for 15 years, he actually became a Class 4 creation master. The 15 years of sorrow surged up in his heart. Compared to the joy of his strength increase, Master Hongshan's heart surged with more gratitude toward Lin Yuan. Without Lin Yuan, he wouldn't have a fully recovered soul. He wouldn't have the opportunity to become a Class 4 creation master and wash away his past and cry tears of joy. Master Hongshan wiped his hands and took out his cell phone from his pocket. He devoutly dialed the phone number that he had just recorded. After returning to his seat, Lin Yuan had completely exposed himself to the 200,000 spectators. These gazes also included the attention of the various S-Tournament club and team members. Lin Yuan also saw many familiar faces. Long Tao, Fang Duo, Zhao Xiaochun, Shi Su, and Lin Yuan were all familiar faces. They had experienced battles together, so they could be considered friends. However, when Lin Yuan had interacted with Long Tao, Fang Duo, Zhao Xiaochun, and Shi Su, he had used Black's identity instead of his current identity. Everyone in the return from faraway manor was shocked and slowly became numb. Although they were surprised, they didn't feel that the strength Lin Yuan had displayed was that incredible. However, Chu Xiai and Zhang Xiaobai were different. Chu Xiai had given Lin Yuan a satisfactory answer in the battle just now. Chu Xiai had defeated the reserve members of the Class A Guild Club and felt the warm cheers from the audience, causing Chu Xiai to inevitably feel a trace of pride in her heart. However, after seeing Lin Yuan's strength, the pride and complacency that had just appeared in Chu Xi's heart were immediately chased away. As her brother, Lin Yuan had used practical actions to let Chu Xiai invisibly understand that no matter when, even if she was at the peak of the mountain, she had to be clear-headed and self-restrained. At the same time, it also let her know that she wanted to catch up to her brother's footsteps. He still needed to move his feet and run with big strides. Zhang Xiaobai did not expect that in half a year, Lin Yuan, who had been on par with him at the beginning, would actually become so strong that he could not even see his back. Zhang Xiaobai could not understand how Lin Yuan had operated during the battle just now. Back in Millstone Town, Lin Yuan had brought a miracle to everyone there. At that moment, Zhang Xiaobai felt that he had seen a miracle that was not inferior to Millstone Town. At that moment, Lin Yuan and Zhang Xiaobai's phones rang at the same time. Lin Yuan picked up the phone and heard Master Hongshan's excited voice. "Young Master, I just broke through to Class 4 Creation Master." Upon hearing Master Hongshan's words, Lin Yuan clenched his fists tightly. His brows relaxed as he revealed a radiant smile. His small white teeth were even more dazzling than the small fireballs spat out by the Silver Stage Pyromancer. The first one was even worse. End of chapter. Chapter 642. Since Lin Yuan had been under everyone's gaze, his smile dazzled many aunties who were secretly paying attention to him. These aunties felt like they had clearly come to watch the all-star game, but they had unknowingly become mommy fans. Lin Yuan hadn't expected that Master Hong Shen would actually bring him such a huge surprise so quickly. The current Sky City was the first true class for Creation Master in Lin Yuan's hands. After becoming a class for Creation Master, Master Hong Shen didn't need to make do and could perfectly make up for Lin Yuan's shortcomings. Master Hong Shen's ability to upgrade phase grades and Lin Yuan's current ability allowed Sky City to truly have a Class 5 Creation Master presiding over it. Lin Yuan said to Master Hong Shen, "I'll send you an address later. When you're done packing, just go there." After hanging up the phone, he found that Zhang Xiaobai had also hung up the phone and was looking at him in surprise. Lin Yuan heard Zhang Xiaobai say happily and anxiously, "Lin Yuan, I have to leave the Radiant Light Palace now. Xin Ying and the others have woken up. I have to go and see them." This time, Lin Yuan did not say that he wanted to go with Zhang Xiaobai. Originally, when Xin Ying, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru were asleep, Lin Yuan did not say that he would go with Zhang Xiaobai. All the burdens fell on Zhang Xiaobai. Now that Xin Ying, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru had woken up, the fact that the Extreme Guild Club was a matter that the four of them needed to discuss and face together. "Go, Little White. I'll wait for you at the Dome Club." Zhang Xiaobai was slightly stunned when he heard that. This was Lin Yuan's second time inviting him. After joining a business club like the Extreme Guild Club, Zhang Xiaobai understood that with Lin Yuan's resources and strength, he would not be able to establish a guild club. Even if it was to recruit reserve members, there would be better choices than them. The first time Lin Yuan had recruited him was because Lin Yuan had helped him as a friend after knowing his situation. The second time he tried to recruit Lin Yuan meant that he sincerely hoped that Lin Yuan could join the Dome Guild Club, even if Lin Yuan's current strength was far inferior. As for Lin Yuan's recruitment, Zhang Xiaobai had always loved the arena, so he naturally had no reason to refuse. Zhang Xiaobai patted Lin Yuan's shoulder forcefully and said, "Don't worry. I'll go ask the three of them later. However, no matter what their plans are, I've decided to join." A few minutes after Zhang Xiaobai left, Lin Yuan's phone rang again. After hanging up the phone, Lin Yuan stood up and spoke to Lu Jie. "Brother Lu, put 2 more pairs of bowls and chopsticks on the table tonight. There will be 2 more of us in the manor." Lu Jie replied, "Leave it to me. I'm going to cook a seafood feast tonight. I'll cook the platinum bony sauté fish I bought before." Lin Yuan felt that today was definitely a great day with double happiness. Not only did Lin Yuan receive Master Hong Shen, but even Duan He, who possessed Emperor-class combat power, had also come to the royal capital. The all-star competition was still ongoing. Most of the lucky spectators chose to watch the Challenger League, so there wasn't much to see. They had come to watch the all-star match on a whim. Now that Chu Ci had fought in the Challenger League, even she felt a little disinterested in watching. As a result, they didn't wait for the all-star competition to end before returning from faraway manor. Wen Yu, the housekeeper, set up the 2 rooms on the 3rd floor next to Hu Quan's room. Not long after returning to the mansion, Lin Yuan received a call from Duan He and Master Hong Shen. Lin Yuan didn't expect the 2 of them to arrive together. Lin Yuan personally walked to the entrance of the manor and welcomed Duan He and Master Hong Shen into the manor. Duan He was an Emperor-class expert, while Master Hong Shen was a class for Creation Master. Their horizons were naturally extraordinary. They immediately saw the extraordinariness of the manor. It was winter, and the plants outside the manor were withering. Inside the manor, it was like summer. Duan He knew that Lin Yuan was the Moon Empress disciple, and Master Hongshan knew that Lin Yuan could casually take out spiritual ingredients from a suzerain/myth breed fae. As a result, he didn't show too much surprise on his face. But when he entered the manor, he was still stunned by the furniture made of completely jade-textured wood and the 3 Mountain River Eternal Life carps in the red sandalwood longevity fish tank. Duan he had been fortunate enough to visit the main residences of top factions before. Those top factions' main residences were nothing more than this. Moreover, the extremely luxurious and huge mural on the wall made the whole house exude a warm feeling. After dinner, everyone quickly became familiar with each other. Even Duan he, who had lived in Indigo Azure City and eaten all kinds of marine fays, couldn't resist them. He couldn't help but admire the chef's cooking skills. After the meal, Master Hongshan looked at the room that Wen Yu had prepared for him and then looked at the clean house. Master Hongshan pondered for a moment before replying. "Young master, I'm used to being dirty. I'm afraid I'll be annoyed if I stay in this house. I see that there is an empty plot of land for sale next to young master's manor. Why don't I buy that plot of land and use it as a cultivation base for young master's manor? Moreover, these 2 pieces of land are so close to each other, and there are no other people around. We can open up the underground space of these 2 pieces of land. It's damp and warm underground with rich earth and water elements. It's the best environment to nurture plant-type phase. There are so many rare plants in young master's manor. In the future, when they bear seeds and breed, this underground space can also be used." Master Hongshan said this mainly because he didn't want to be restricted in his daily life. The speaker didn't mean anything, but the listener heard it. When Master Hongshan's words entered Lin Yuan's ears, his eyes immediately lit up. The return from faraway manor might have a lot of space, but he wanted to establish the Dome Guild Club's guild base in the future. It would occupy the empty plot of land at the north of the return from faraway manor. In addition, the expansion of the artificial lake would inevitably occupy land. If he had to use the empty plot of land on the west side to build a Fey cultivation base, it would appear that the layout of the manor was rather compact. Master Hongshan's idea was undoubtedly the perfect solution to this problem. What made Lin Yuan even happier was that Master Hongshan's idea of opening up an underground space was very feasible and imperative. Lin Yuan had a golden lotus brocade plant that had mutated from the flower brocade pearl. The underground space would immediately solve the problem of nurturing the golden lotus brocade plant. Moreover, the underground space was connected to the inside and outside of the manor, and it could be controlled very well. The secret of the underground space would also not be discovered and leaked by intentional factions. In a few days, the spatial tunnel that would be built from the manor to the Divine Wood Federation could also be set up in the underground space. Second, more. Button was almost done with work recently and still had to be busy for a few more days. In a few days, it would start to recover. End of this chapter. Chapter 643. As long as the underground space was large enough, no one would notice his manor's transportation and resource exchange through the spatial tunnel. Hu Quan did not need many spatial magnets and spatial soft silver threads to create the carriage. The remaining spatial magnets and spatial soft silver threads could be laid in the underground space and had the perfect effect of isolating detection. After all, after using the spatial magnets and spatial soft silver threads to shield the space, even a suzerain/myth 3 Fey like Endless Summer would not be able to easily sense it. Alright, you can go and settle that matter first. After saying that, Lin Yuan shook his hand and took out a crystal silk embroidered satin brocade box. All the expenses will be paid from this. In addition, the things that you need for the breeding room will be provided according to the highest aptitude. After saying that, he took out a silver Fey storage box and handed it and the brocade box to Master Hongshan. Master Hongshan did not immediately check the items in the brocade box and the silver Fey storage box. Instead, he quickly replied, "Young master, don't worry. Young master, don't worry. This old man is very reliable. This old man promises to handle this matter beautifully. After saying that, Master Hongshan turned and left the manor, preparing to settle the matter. It was slightly past 6 in the evening, and even if it was not suitable to start work, it was also good to buy the land first. After leaving the manor, Master Hongshan opened the brocade box and was almost blinded by the dazzling pearls. A few drops of saliva flowed out of Master Hongshan's mouth, which flowed through his beard and dripped onto the elemental pearls in the box. It did not conceal the pearls' luster at all. At that moment, Master Hongshan was holding the brocade box full of elemental pearls as though he was holding a ball of sunset glow. Hongshan then took a look at the silver face storage box and saw that there were a total of 20 flower brocade pearls that were growing excellently. Master Hongshan, who was originally loyal to Lin Yuan, had the thought of repaying his kindness. Now, Master Hongshan felt that he could not repay the kindness. He could not repay it in this lifetime. The happiness of being rich made Hongshan feel that working for free here was a kind of extreme enjoyment. It was as though he was freeloading Lin Yuan every second. Under the guidance of Wen Yu, the manor's chief steward, Duan he looked around his room and was very satisfied with the place he would be living in the future. After looking at the room, Duan he sat on the water rhinoceros leather sofa and chatted with Lin Yuan for a while. He then went to the training room with Lin Yuan. When Duan he arrived at the training room, he immediately swore allegiance to Sky City with the 3 law runes he had comprehended and became Lin Yuan's guardian. Then, he faintly felt the power of the 3 laws pouring into his body and fusing with his spirit. It allowed Lin Yuan's perception of heaven and earth to increase by 3 small levels. The knowledge-related willpower rune was stuck in the middle, and it was very uncomfortable for Lin Yuan to be unable to enter or exit. There seemed to be a faint crack in this barrier that was holding him back. He felt that he could break this crack at any time. He was certain that he would be able to comprehend this knowledge willpower rune in 1 or 2 days. He might even comprehend it in the next second. This made Lin Yuan abnormally happy as genius was finally going to evolve into a fantasy breed. Lin Yuan said to Duan He. Senior Duan He, is it convenient to summon your 6-headed sea demon snake and thunder wave sky rumbling snail? Upon hearing that, Duan He grinned. Others can only dream if they want to see my phase, but it's naturally convenient if young master wants to see them. Duan He waved his hand, and a small snake that was about 10 centimeters appeared in his palm. Lin Yuan saw that this small snake had dark purple scales that were suffused with a purple misty brilliance. Looking at this purple misty brilliance, it was as though one had fallen into the raging waves of the dark seabed. The little snake had 6 heads, each of which had a different color. The snake head in the middle was dark blue in color and contained a terrifying amount of water elemental energy. It was also this dark blue head that was growing in the middle of the 6-headed sea demon snake that was wearing an exquisite sapphire conch. The sapphire conch was tower-shaped and had many sharp thorns on it. These thorns were covered with silver electric patterns that flickered with silver electric arcs. Once a myth-I Fei went through the first world cleansing, it would be able to easily grasp the mimicry ability. Lin Yuan knew that the 6-headed sea demon snake and thunder wave sky rumbling snail were in a mimicry state. Otherwise, if the 6-headed sea demon snake's massive body was fully displayed, the entire manor would probably be occupied by it. The 6-headed sea demon snake and thunder wave sky rumbling snail might not have reached Myth 2 and were at the pinnacle of Myth I. However, their intelligence was already much higher than ordinary people. They were telepathically connected with Duan He and had long known of Lin Yuan's existence. Duan He had become Lin Yuan's guardian, which meant that the 6-headed sea demon snake and thunder wave sky rumbling snail had also become Lin Yuan's guardians. Otherwise, given their pride as pinnacle suzerain/myth-I Feis, they would not allow themselves to be stared at so wantonly. When Duan He saw that Lin Yuan had been staring at the 6-headed sea demon snake's head, he explained. When a purple demon advances, it needs to devour a large amount of meat from a high-grade Fey and consume heavy water. It uses heavy water to catalyze the energy in the high-grade Fey's meat and absorb it. According to the different elemental attributes of the high-grade Fey's meat, the elemental energy will be sealed in the 6 snake heads. At this point, Duan He sighed with emotion. A purple demon is too difficult to raise. It's not as easy as silver lightning. Every time there's a thunderstorm over the sea, let silver lightning strike at the center of the thunderstorm. There's no need to spend so many resources and effort. While Lin Yuan was listening to Duan He's introduction, he had already carefully checked the attributes of each of the 6-headed sea demon snake's head. He found that the 6-headed sea demon snake's main head's attribute was water, while the other head's attributes were earth, fire, wind, poison, and dark attribute. Among them, the dark attribute head was pitifully small. It was obvious that the 6-headed sea demon snake had the least chance to eat high-grade dark attribute phase meat. Lin Yuan was not in a hurry to talk to Duan He. Instead, he greeted the 6-headed sea demon snake and thunder wave sky rumbling snail. Greetings, Senior Purple Demon, Senior Thunder Wave. As soon as Lin Yuan greeted them, the 6-headed sea demon snake and thunder wave sky rumbling snail also greeted him. When Fays reached Suzerain/Myth I, except for plant-type Fays, they would be able to speak. Lin Yuan's polite behavior made the 6-headed sea demon snake and thunder wave sky rumbling snail have a good impression of him. End of this chapter. Chapter 644. However, Lin Yuan didn't expect the Suzerain/Myth I 6-headed sea demon snake to be a female Fey. Moreover, her voice was rather pleasant. Lin Yuan then asked Duan He. Senior Duan He, you said that Senior Purple Demon is hard to feed. Is it because of the lack of high-grade Fey meat and heavy water? Duan He frowned and said, I don't lack heavy water. I have been in Indigo Azure City for so many years. Every time I see a water world dimensional rift, I will go in to explore it. I can always find a few drops of heavy water in a Class 3 water world dimensional rift. However, as the purple demon gets stronger, the high-grade Fey meat is really difficult for me. Heavy water was similar to an extraordinary flame. One was a special spiritual ingredient produced by the water world dimensional rift, while the other was a special spiritual ingredient of the abyss dimensional rift. However, compared to an extraordinary flame, the heavy water produced by the water world dimensional rift was undoubtedly much more precious. Lin Yuan didn't have heavy water on hand at the moment, but he did have high-grade Fey meat. Lin Yuan continued to ask Duan He. Senior Duan He, I wonder if Senior Purple Demon has any requirements for high-grade dimensional life form meat? Upon hearing this, Duan He glanced at the 6-headed sea demon snake Violet Demon sadly. When the 6-headed sea demon snake saw Duan He's sorrowful eyes, she immediately yelled, Duan He, you pig! Duan He, you pig trotter! You always complain that I have a big appetite, but why don't you say that I can fight? Why are you looking at me like that? Do you not love me anymore? Can't you feed me anymore? When Duan He heard the 6-headed sea demon snake's words, he didn't care that he was in front of Lin Yuan. He quickly coaxed the 6-headed sea demon snake. Honey, what are you talking about? I don't love anyone, but I can't not love you. No matter how much you eat, I will risk my life to feed you. When Lin Yuan heard Duan He's words, his eyes immediately widened as he looked at Duan He and the 6-headed sea demon snake in astonishment. After coaxing the 6-headed sea demon snake for a while, Duan He looked at Lin Yuan and scratched his head in embarrassment. The purple demon is my wife, but my wife hasn't transformed into a human form yet, so I haven't made it public. Lin Yuan, you have to help me keep this a secret. Lin Yuan didn't expect spirit chi professionals to be able to find a partner with their contracted phase. It was as though Lin Yuan had opened the door to a whole new world. However, he did not want to step into this new world. Duan, he said seriously. If the purple demon wants to absorb energy from meat, it will have to eat fey meat of the same grade as itself. Given the purple demon's current strength, the effects of inferior fey meat at suzerain are already very weak. As for the meat that is one level higher than the purple demon, it is of great benefit to the sea demons. It's just that I can't get such meat even if you beat me to death. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan pondered for a moment and then waved his hand to summon 2 metal boxes made of stainless gold. Lin Yuan said to Duan He. Senior Duan He, the items in these 2 boxes might be useful to Senior Violet Demon. He had plenty of high-grade fey meat on hand, but the meat from the dark-eyed scorpion tiger and the dark spirit-eye tadpole had no effect on the 6-headed sea demon snake. Therefore, Lin Yuan did not take them out. When the mother of Bloodbath had split the night calamity crows and the dream-eating bats, it had collected a lot of spiritual ingredients, blood, and bones. It had also left behind some meat that was not very useful. These meat had unexpectedly come in handy now. Master Hongshan's black copper pot great mage needed bones, while Duan He's contracted 6-headed sea demon snake only needed fey meat. Lin Yuan realized that these 2 people's needs were quite complementary, so he reserved the high-grade resources that he did not have any use for now. Duan He looked at the 2 golden boxes that suddenly appeared on the ground and knew that there should be high-grade fey meat inside. Gold-grade spirit material, stainless gold, was used to prevent any kind of energy from corroding. Although stainless gold was easily deformed under physical attacks, it could maintain its stability under the corrosion of elemental energy. The 6-headed sea demon snake was obviously a creature that could not eat its fill. Now that it saw that there seemed to be food, it anxiously asked Duan He to open it. Duan He was a little embarrassed as he opened the box made of stainless gold in front of Lin Yuan. The moment he opened the box, Duan He was almost suffocated by the dense dark energy in the 2 boxes. Duan He, who had been collecting high-grade fey meat all year round, immediately recognized that it was the meat of a pinnacle suzerain/myth 2 fey. Duan He sensed the density of dark elements in the meat. It was likely that the fey that contributed the meat was only a trace away from reaching myth 3. Even though the 6-headed sea demon snake was a pinnacle suzerain/myth I fey, it was now happily burrowing into the box like a little girl. Shaking their 2 little heads, they began to play happily. Duan He excitedly held Lin Yuan's hand and said loudly, "Lin Yuan, thank you. Thank you for helping me raise my wife. Thank you for helping me raise my wife." Duan He was so excited that he was incoherent. Duan He had been working hard for many years, collecting resources in the wind and rain. In addition to making himself stronger, he also wanted to quickly live a normal married life. With the meat from these 2 pinnacle suzerain/myth 2 feys, the purple demon only needed to eat a small portion to directly reach myth 2. Duan He felt that the happy life he had been looking forward to for so many years was finally about to arrive. Upon hearing Duan He's words, Lin Yuan hurriedly waved his hand. Lin Yuan did not dare to say that he was raising his wife. No matter how one listened to it, this sentence had the flavor of a prairie after a rain. Moreover, Lin Yuan did not even have a wife now. Today was Duan He's first day joining the private faction, Sky City, and he had become Lin Yuan's guardian. He had not done anything and had already taken such precious resources. This made Duan He feel a little embarrassed. At the same time, Duan He could also clearly feel Lin Yuan's attitude toward him. During dinner just now, Duan He, who was used to seeing the ways of the world, had carefully observed that although this big family was led by Lin Yuan respected every member of this big family very much. Moreover, the relationship between this big family members was also exceptionally sincere and pure. Duan He could not help but reveal a smile. In such a private faction, no matter how unstable the outside was, it would always be a pure land inside. Wasn't this feeling what he had been looking forward to? After chatting with Lin Yuan for a while, Duan He suddenly thought of something. He took out a brocade pouch from his diamond face storage box and opened the brocade pouch. Then, he loosened the lid of the brocade pouch, and a handful of fine crystals of various colors appeared in Duan He's hand. Although these crystals of various colors were fragmented, they all carried either bright or dark golden veined patterns. The second one was even more. End of this chapter. Chapter 645. Duan He handed the crystal fragments to Lin Yuan and said, "These are all the law crystals I've collected. These are all the law crystals I've collected over a long period of time. He. I spent a lot of effort to get these law crystals, and they're relatively complete." When talking about the law crystal fragments, Duan He felt rather proud of himself. Among the spirit chi professionals with the same grade of phase as him, Duan He dared to say that no one could hunt more complete and numerous law crystals than him. Of course, this was all thanks to the six-headed sea demon snake, Purple Demon, who could eat and fight. Lin Yuan looked at the law crystal fragments in Duan He's hands and was overjoyed. It seemed like today was not a double blessing, but a triple blessing. There were many law crystal fragments in Duan He's hands, and it must be related to the large amount of high-grade fey meat the Purple Demon needed. Most of these law crystal fragments were at Myth I, and some of them even had extremely thin laws within them. It was obvious that these fays had just undergone the world cleansing from suzerain and had been killed by Duan He and dug out their law crystals. Even so, these law crystals were enough for the sacred sword-wielding queen to have a good meal. At that moment, the sacred sword-wielding queen in the depths of Lin Yuan's soul was palpitating. Lin Yuan took the law crystal fragments from Duan He's hands and said, "Senior, I'll give you the law crystals that contain pure power of laws. I'll give you the law crystals that contain pure power of laws later." Duan He shook his head in a carefree manner. "I don't know how long it will take for Purple Demon to reach Myth 3, so I'm not in a hurry for the law crystals. There are others in Sky City who need the law crystals more than Purple Demon." Duan He's tone was very solemn. The law crystals could be said to be Duan He's greatest wealth, and he was so carefree because he was returning a favor. In return, Lin Yuan had given him nearly complete meat from 2 Pinnacle Suzerain/Myth 2 Dark-type fays without any hesitation. Lin Yuan was slightly stunned when he heard Duan He's words, and then he revealed a bright smile. Lin Yuan knew who Duan He had said that Sky City needed pure law crystals more than the six-headed serpent, Purple Demon. Those two were undoubtedly Endless Summer and the Mother of Bloodbath. It could be said that Duan He's law crystal fragments had directly accelerated the Mother of Bloodbath's advancement to a creation breed. Needless to say, Red Thorn's Eye of Relinquish was simply too good. Even though the blood brew grapevine had grown wantonly, there were close to 40 bunches of unripened blood brew grapes. However, these 40 bunches of unripened blood brew grapes were growing at a visible speed under the Eye of Relinquish. She changed into a new look every day. He estimated that the first bunch of blood brew grapes should be able to ripen in another half a month. After that, it would harvest 1 or 2 bunches of blood brew grapes almost every day, which could provide sufficient blood energy for the Mother of Bloodbath's advancement. If the Mother of Bloodbath could successfully become a creation breed, then the sacred source life form that Lin Yuan had reserved for it would come in handy. When that happened, Sky City's top combat power would rise to a whole new level. Duan He casually took out a bulging brocade pouch and poured out even more turbid biocrystals from it as he said to Lin Yuan, "That's enough. It would be great if young master could use these things. These things also contain the power of laws, but the power of laws is too impure. Even Class 5 creation masters can't do anything about it. The Bamboo Monarch's purple bamboo forest has always been collecting all kinds of rare spiritual ingredients from the outside world, but it doesn't accept these things." The sacred sword-wielding queen's heart palpitated when Duan He took out a handful of law crystal shards. The sacred sword-wielding queen said anxiously in Lin Yuan's mind, "Lin Yuan, I urgently need these crystals. Lin Yuan, I urgently need these crystals. These crystals can temper the law power that I absorbed from the law crystal and help the complete law absorbed by the queen's dress to evolve." Lin Yuan's eyes narrowed, but his expression did not change as he asked Duan He, "Senior, what are these turbid crystals in your hand? Senior, what are these turbid crystals in your hand? Senior, what are these turbid crystals in your hand?" Duan He hurriedly replied, "I've entered a few Class 5 dimensional rifts with my team in the outer realm. Although we weren't lucky enough to obtain the sacred source lifeform, we managed to kill some dimensional lifeforms that were equivalent to suzerain/myth I phase. These things are called law origin crystals. They were dug out from the bodies of those Tier 7 dimensional creatures." After listening to Duan He's explanation, Lin Yuan knew what these things were. Lin Yuan asked Duan He, "Senior, you just said that Class 5 Creation Master Bamboo Monarch doesn't need these law origin crystals, right?" Duan He nodded. "The power of law in these law origin crystals can't be extracted at all. Phase can't absorb it directly either, so it's useless. At most, it can only be used as proof of killing a Tier 7 dimensional creature." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan's breathing quickened slightly. "Does that mean that Emperor-class powerhouses probably have law origin crystals?" Duan He shook his head. "Young master, the Zheng family's Jiao Han Song that you killed earlier should not have it. This old thing is very poor. I don't know where he spends his money. He doesn't usually go to the dimensional rift to fight. I don't know what he spends his time on. Isn't he just a creation master? Isn't he afraid of getting hemorrhoids by staying here all day?" Lin Yuan did not expect that Jiao Han Song would still owe Duan He money at the moment of his death. Lin Yuan knew where Jiao Han Song had spent his money. Jiao Han Song's diamond face storage box had almost been turned into a boutique garden. Jiao Han Song spent his days admiring the flowers and cultivating the soil. How could he be in the mood to fight in the dimensional rift? At that moment, Duan He spoke again. "Law origin crystals can be said to be the most useless thing to Emperor realm experts. Emperor-class powerhouses can sense the rule power within, but they can't use it. It's simply a form of torture. Young master, if you need them, I know quite a few Emperor realm experts. I can help you see if I can buy some. However, these things that are used to symbolize strength are not cheap." Lin Yuan was overjoyed. Previously, he had thought that his contracted sacred source life form, the sacred sword-embracing queen, was powerful and could do things that only Class 5 creation masters could. However, it was too difficult for the sacred sword-wielding queen to improve. It had consumed 2 Pinnacle Myth 2 Law crystals and 2 Fantasy V runes to upgrade it from a fragmented infant to a 1-star. If he wanted to upgrade it again, who knew how many resources he would have to spend? Even with such abundant resources, Lin Yuan still felt the pressure was like a mountain. First, even more. Moi, good night, everyone. End of this chapter. Chapter 646. It was only now that Lin Yuan realized that the sacred source life form, the sacred sword-hugging queen, could not only consume law crystals to increase its star class. It could also consume the law origin crystals in the bodies of Class 7 dimensional life forms. However, he had learned from the conversation with the sacred sword-hugging queen's soul that there were no laws in the law origin crystals for her to absorb. However, the sacred sword-hugging queen could use the energy in the law origin crystals to strengthen the original nomological power in her skirt. After the death of a myth-breed Fae, the law origin crystal's laws would remain in the same state as when the Fae was alive. Now that the sacred sword-hugging queen's skirt had absorbed these laws, they were once again enhanced. It was as though the dead myth-breed Fae had been resurrected and had broken through and increased its strength in the sacred sword-hugging queen's skirt. The sacred sword-hugging queen could only use the law origin crystal's energy to enhance the complete laws. Fortunately, there were two children of fortune, the night calamity crow and the dream-eating bat. The night death and remnant dream laws in the night calamity crow and the dream-eating bat were complete and could be enhanced. Duan-He had said that he could help Lin Yuan collect the law origin crystals from Emperor-class experts, which was a great help to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan might not have other things, but he had money and resources. The Spirit Lock spatial zone was constantly producing heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls, so Lin Yuan did not feel the pinch at all when he spent them. Moreover, the elemental pearls were one-time consumables, so no matter how many he sold, it would not affect the huge market at all. Lin Yuan looked at Duan-He and said with abnormal solemnity, "Senior, the law origin crystals are very useful to me. If it's possible, please help me collect all the law origin crystals you can." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's solemn tone, Duan-He immediately became serious and said, "Don't worry, leave it to me. Don't worry, leave it to me." Duan-He felt that he had taken on too much of a responsibility, so he changed his words slightly. It's just that different Emperor-class experts value the law origin crystals, which can be used to show off their strength, differently. Some Emperor-class experts just treat them as useless decorations. The price needed to trade the law origin crystals with these King-class experts is slightly lower. Some Emperor-class experts believe that law origin crystals can represent their contributions. Even if law origin crystals are useless, they still treat them as treasures. "Young master, you'll have to bleed a lot to make a deal with such an emperor-level expert." Duan-He did not understand why Lin Yuan wanted to use these law origin crystals. However, the next moment, Duan-He's eyes froze. Duan-He thought to himself, could it be that the Moon Empress can already extract the power of law from the law origin crystal? However, Duan-He immediately felt that he was thinking too much. If the Moon Empress wanted law origin crystals, she just had to say the word, and countless Emperor-class experts would rush to deliver them to her. At that time, these Emperor-class experts would probably be afraid that the Moon Empress wouldn't accept their law source crystals. I can use the heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls and the opportunity to customize a bronze/epic Fey according to the willpower rune. Upon hearing that, Duan-He nearly choked on his own saliva. Did he have to be so rich? Since when did Class 4 Creation Master's exclusive heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls become the currency of transactions? In particular, Duan-He felt that no Emperor-class expert would be able to refuse the opportunity to customize bronze/epic Fays based on the willpower rune in exchange for the law source crystal. An Emperor-class expert might be able to find a Class 4 Creation Master to order a Fey that was compatible with their willpower rune, but it would also require a lot of favors, reputation, and resources. It would take a lot of effort to find rare spirit materials. Back when Duan-He had sought the help of a Class 4 Creation Master, he had often been ordered by the Class 4 Creation Master to search for rare spiritual ingredients. Even if an Emperor-level expert didn't need this opportunity, he would still have disciples and juniors. If word got out that there was such a good opportunity, Emperor-class experts would probably line up to exchange their law's origin crystals with him. Duan-He blinked his eyes and asked after some deliberation, "Young master, I wonder how many heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls and opportunities to customize bronze/epic Fays can you provide?" Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan replied, "The heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls are of the same level as the auction items. I can take out 1,000 now. As for the opportunities to customize bronze/epic Fays based on the willpower rune, I can take them all." Over time, Lin Yuan had already accumulated over 1,300 heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls. However, after much consideration, Lin Yuan felt that he still had to leave some savings on hand for emergencies. Thus, exchanging 1,000 pearls for law source crystals was already his limit. As for the opportunities to customize bronze/epic Fays based on the willpower rune, it would only take Lin Yuan half an hour. During this process, Lin Yuan's enhancement of the phase was also equivalent to cultivation. Even though Duan He was an emperor-class expert, he didn't know what to say at that moment. What kind of rich nest had he entered? Did he have to be so rich? Furthermore, money wasn't the most important thing. The most important thing was that the creation master resources that Lin Yuan casually mentioned had truly shocked Duan He. At the thought that Lin Yuan had so many creation master resources, Duan He's crazy thoughts, which had been sealed in his mind, stirred again. However, this restless thought made Duan He not know how to tell Lin Yuan. Because this idea was simply too shameless. Then, Duan He thought that since he had become Lin Yuan's guardian, his increase in strength was equivalent to increasing Lin Yuan's strength. Shamelessly, Duan He activated his mental strength. A dark blue willpower rune appeared in front of Duan He. He only felt that this dark blue willpower rune carried a pure water elemental aura and did not have anything special about it. But it was more versatile. This dark blue willpower rune should be suitable for almost all water elemental creatures. When Lin Yuan had roped in Duan He had thrown out 3 layers of tricks. The second trick was to promise Duan He to nurture an exclusive bronze/legend fey based on the willpower rune that Duan He had comprehended. Now that he knew the willpower rune that Duan He had comprehended, this willpower rune that was too versatile had stumped him. So Lin asked Duan He. Senior Duan He, do you have any fays you would like to form a contract with? Duan He stood there with a flushed face, waiting for Lin Yuan to say this. The second one was even better. There was more tonight, but it would be a little later. Button's hand was caught in the door, so typing was a little painful. End of this chapter. Chapter 647. Lin Yuan had always been used to looking into other people's eyes when talking to them, and it was naturally no exception when talking to Duan He. Therefore, the moment Duan He revealed an embarrassed expression, Lin Yuan knew that the fey he needed should be somewhat special. Sure enough, Lin Yuan heard Duan He speak hesitantly. Young master, I want a bronze/legend spirit siphon goldfish with the exclusive skill primordial spirit transformation. Do you think it's possible? Upon hearing Duan He's words, Lin Yuan's expression immediately turned strange. Upon seeing Lin Yuan's strange expression, Duan He's face turned even redder. If he had made such a request elsewhere, Duan He would have been treated as a lunatic. The spirit chi required to enhance a bronze/legend spirit siphon goldfish was equivalent to enhancing 5 other bronze/legend fays. Bronze/legend fays were existences that could only be encountered and not sought after. Each of them required a massive amount of resources. His request was no different from asking for 5 bronze/legend fays. However, this was the thought that appeared in Duan He's mind after he comprehended the willpower rune. The strength of the 6-headed sea demon snake, purple demon, made Duan He inclined to control the 6-headed sea demon snake in battle. It could be said that Duan He had no combat system. Even Duan He had been cultivating the thunder wave sky-shattering snail all the way because it was extremely easy to cultivate. He only needed to be struck by lightning when he encountered a thunderstorm or thunderstorm. Furthermore, the thunder wave sky-shattering conch could attach itself to the 6-headed sea demon snake's head during battle and become the 6-headed sea demon snake's thunder horn. If one had to say that Duan He had a combat system, then Duan He wanted to contract other fays to strengthen the 6-headed sea demon snake's combat power. He wanted to make full use of his advantages. No matter what, strengthening his wife was never wrong. Duan He's fey affinity was water type, so he could form a contract with the spirit siphon goldfish. The spirit siphon goldfish could recover the spirit energy that the 6-headed sea demon snake and Duan He had expended during the battle, increasing their endurance. At the same time, when the exclusive skill primordial spirit conversion was executed, it could convert the target's elemental energy into spiritual power. The six-headed sea demon snake's 6 heads contained a vast amount of elemental energy, but the spiritual power within the six-headed sea demon snake was limited. The exclusive skill, primordial spirit conversion, could be said to be a divine skill that could multiply the six-headed sea demon snake's endurance. The spirit siphon goldfish with the exclusive skill, primordial spirit transformation, was equivalent to a strong guarantee for the six-headed sea demon snake's protracted battle. However, the exclusive skill, primordial spirit conversion, was unique to the spirit siphon goldfish. Apart from contracting the spirit siphon goldfish, there was no other way. Just as Duan He was about to change the topic and break the awkwardness, he heard Lin Yuan say, "I thought it was a request. This request is very easy to fulfill. It just so happens that the exclusive skill of the 5 fortune ranchu in the red sandalwood longevity fish tank downstairs is primordial spirit transformation. I'll fish it out later. I can strengthen it for you in a few days." Lin Yuan had originally thought that Duan He needed some rare aquatic phase. If it was too rare, Lin Yuan would not be able to do anything. If it was the spirit siphon goldfish, he might have to expend more effort, but it wasn't a difficult task for him. Duan He had originally thought that Lin Yuan would reject him, but he had not expected Lin Yuan to agree so easily. This made Duan He extremely excited and moved at the same time. After experiencing ups and downs for dozens of years, Duan He, who had reached his current strength, naturally understood how rare creation master resources were. But now, Lin Yuan had unconditionally agreed to his request, which was abnormally excessive in his opinion. This caused Duan He to suddenly have a feeling that, if the ruler treats me like a national knight, I will definitely return the favor with a national knight. Duan He didn't say any words of gratitude. Having lived to Duan He's level, he wanted to let Duan He know that it was better to do things in the future than now. Lin Yuan looked through the trainer's small window and saw that the sky outside was gradually darkening. After thinking for a moment, he said to Duan He, "Senior Duan He, go to the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce and stay with Listen for some time. The Zheng family should be making a move soon." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Duan He nodded hard. "Recently, I've been staying at the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce at night. During the day, I'll contact young master for the law origin crystals." Duan He could be said to be a witness to the feud between Lin Yuan and the Zheng family, as he had witnessed the entire process. Jiao Hanzhong wanted to kill Lin Yuan, and he was determined to kill him. Lin Yuan had also killed Jiao Hanzhong and the Zheng family's Nightmare Squad's Nightmare 6 as long as the Zheng family didn't know Lin Yuan's identity. Lin Yuan and the Zheng family were destined to be a dead knot that couldn't be resolved. If the Zheng family knew Lin Yuan's identity, they would probably think of ways to beg for Lin Yuan's forgiveness. However, from Lin Yuan's words, it was obvious that he didn't intend to reveal his identity as the Moon Empress disciple. No matter what happened in the end, the Zheng family would be in big trouble. Through his interaction with Lin Yuan, Duan He found that Lin Yuan didn't put on airs and didn't seem to have any intention of relying on the Radiant Moon Palace. This made Duan He a little suspicious. If he didn't rely on the Radiant Moon Palace, how did Lin Yuan get his massive creation master resources? If he relied on that sloppy old man, Master Hongshen, he obviously couldn't do it. However, Duan He didn't think too much about it. Duan He was now a brick in Sky City, and he shared honor and disgrace with Lin Yuan. No matter what resources. The more resources Lin Yuan had, the luckier Duan He would be. After talking to Duan He, Lin Yuan realized that Listen and Zhou Luo had already left the manor. The Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce had been very busy recently. The luxury goods that they had stocked up were about to be sold, so Listen and Zhou Luo were so busy that they didn't even have time to come to the manor to eat. Duan He immediately set off for the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce, ready to deal with the storm that could only be resolved by force. Just as Lin Yuan was about to return to his room and enter the spirit-lock spatial zone to feed the sacred source life form, the sacred sword embracing queen, when Yu walked up to him and said, "Don't worry. Young master, I want to go to the Hidden Moon Pavilion tonight. I've sorted out the information on the Zheng family, but I want to prepare the information on the Miao family behind the Zheng family in advance. In case of emergencies." Lin Yuan nodded in response. "Go. Tomorrow, the Star Web's private faction territory will be opened to the other factions. At the same time, 100 fate letters will be issued. If I can come back, I'll take you to the interior of the territory I've arranged." When Yu hurriedly replied, "Young master, I will definitely rush back tomorrow morning." After saying that, Wen Yu shouted softly, "Flutter, dance of paper." As soon as Wen Yu's voice fell, she turned into fluttering pieces of paper and dissipated in the wind. Lin Yuan was stunned by the change in front of him, and then he laughed. The first was even better. End of this chapter. Chapter 648. Lin Yuan did not expect that Wen Yu had been sorting out the Zheng family's information for the past 2 days and had gone to the Radiant Light Palace to watch the All-Star match. She had not been idle at all. She had actually used her spare time to nurture the elemental source-type source paper to Bronze 3/Elite. While Wen Yu turned into a piece of paper and flew away, Lin Yuan had used Morbius True Data to check the source paper's attributes. Fey name, source paper, paper flower, Fey species, elemental/sand, Fey grade, Bronze 3, Fey type, source, Fey quality, elite abilities frowny face paper dance, turn the body into flying pieces of paper. The paper is immune to physical damage, but the effect is doubled when facing elemental damage. The transformed paper has a flickering effect that triggers once every 5 seconds and can flash 3 kilometers in a general direction. Paper crane packed, condenses paper into a paper crane. The paper crane can convey a specific message. The paper crane records the recipient's aura. If the person without the aura of the paper crane receives the paper crane will automatically burn. The paper crane has a flickering effect that is 10 times that of the paper dance. Exclusive skill frowny face heaven listening secret manual, the contractor's body turns into a secret manual. The secret manual raises the flying pieces of paper. As the secret manual flips, it can record all the subtle sensations on the flying pieces of paper. Lin Yuan was stunned when he saw the elemental source-type source paper that Wen Yu had nurtured. In terms of the combat effect of the elemental source-type source paper, Lin Yuan could only evaluate it as trash. It could be said that the elemental source-type source paper had almost no combat ability. The only skill that could be of use in battle was the normal skill, paper dance, which triggered the blink effect once every 5 seconds. It could have the effect of teleportation. As for the paper dance's ability to turn into paper and be immune to physical damage, Lin Yuan felt that it was a good self-protection ability. However, while the paper was immune to physical damage, it had to bear double the elemental effects. Such a restriction made this self-protection ability very useless. After all, every spirit chi professional could contract a few Feys, and most spirit chi professionals would have Feys that were good at using elemental damage. However, Wen Yu was a creation master, and the Feys she had contracted previously were not good at combat. Thus, the origin paper's insignificance in battle did not affect Wen Yu at all. If one looked at the Genesis paper and not from a battle perspective but from an internal affairs perspective, then the Genesis paper that Wen Yu had nurtured would not be very useful. The origin paper was an irreplaceable treasure when it came to internal affairs. Previously, Listen had caught a silver messenger pigeon on the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce's tree and obtained some information about the Zheng family. In his opinion, each of Wen Yu's elite ability, Paper Crane Pact, was equivalent to a messenger pigeon. After all, the messenger pigeon was just a Fey. If a high-class creation master used a special method to trap it, the messenger pigeon might lose its vigilance. On the other hand, Wen Yu's skill, pact of paper cranes, did not need to worry about this at all. The paper crane agreement was under Wen Yu's control, so there was no risk of the secret being leaked. The pact of paper cranes had a flickering effect, and its effect was 10 times that of the previous paper dance. In other words, the paper crane could fly 30 kilometers every 5 seconds, and it could fly 360 kilometers in 1 minute. As the source paper grew stronger, the effects of the skill would also become stronger. At that time, the flickering effect of the pact of the paper crane would also become stronger. However, it seemed that the speed of the pact of the paper crane was already faster than most phase. It was several times faster than the silver messenger pigeon. Wen Yu's pact of the paper crane could be used as a special communication method for Sky City to the outside world. It added a more mysterious veil to Sky City in the clouds. As for the exclusive skill, Heaven Listening's secret record, it allowed Wen Yu to become the most outstanding intelligence controller. Lin Yuan, who had lived 2 lives, knew that the devil was hidden in the details. The source paper's exclusive skill, Heaven Listening's secret record, allowed Wen Yu to record without missing any details that could not be detected by the naked eye or that people could not help but overlook. If she had the support of a strong enough perception ability, Wen Yu alone was enough to support Sky City's intelligence network. Suddenly, Lin Yuan thought of Gray, which was hatching in his spirit-lock spatial zone. Gray, which had transformed into a heaven and earth fae, could be said to be a pleasant surprise for Lin Yuan. It had a perfect concealment effect for the floating island whale that was about to hatch. It blocked the detection and perception from the outside world. This was Gray's common skill, cloud transformation. As Gray's strength increased, it spread out across the horizon, overlooking everything in the mortal world. It would be great if Wen Yu's perception could connect with Gray's ability, cloud transformation. That way, when Wen Yu used the source paper's exclusive skill, Heaven Listening's secret record, she could record the world shrouded by cloud transformation. She could perfectly collect the world's resources and intelligence. After thinking for a while, Lin Yuan slapped his forehead. He felt that his imagination was too wild. When Hu Quan came out of his room, he saw Lin Yuan slapping his forehead at the door of his room. He felt that Lin Yuan was not very smart. Hu Quan walked forward and said, "Is it very comfortable to slap your forehead? Do you want me to make a mechanical arm for you that can slap your forehead 100 times per second and experience 100 times the pleasure?" Lin Yuan, who was about to enter his room, revealed a handsome and puzzled expression. What was wrong with this craftsman? How could he say such a strange thing? However, if the mechanical arm that could slap 100 times per second was sold on the market, it seemed to be very popular. The sun was setting in the west, and the red glow of the sky only occupied a corner of the western horizon under the invasion of the night. It was like a weak flame lingering in the sky, unwilling to dissipate. 4 people, 2 men and 2 women, were panting heavily on the peak of a mountain on the outskirts of the royal capital, sweating profusely. It was obvious that the 4 of them had just climbed this steep mountain and exhausted all their strength. Zhang Xiaobai lay on the ground and shouted loudly. "Ah! Fuck the Extreme Guild Club. I, Zhang Xiaobai, want to live again." Zhang Xiaobai's shout was filled with joy after sweating profusely, as though everything about the Extreme Guild Club had been relieved after this shout. Zhang Xiaobai, who was shouting at the sky, did not notice that Xianing, who was sitting beside him, was looking at him with eyes full of love. Zhang Xiaobai felt that it was not enough after shouting, so he shouted again. "Ah! My rebirth failed. Xianing, that bitch, is pestering me." Sob, sob, sob. Before Zhang Xiaobai could finish shouting, his beloved palm immediately used indestructible grasp and used a phase rush with a fatal rhythm. The second was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 649. A series of shrill screams seemed to frighten the red clouds on the horizon, and they disappeared into the darkness in an instant. At this point, the sky slowly darkened. Zhang Xiaobai rubbed his stomach, looking aggrieved like a little wife being bullied. Xianning, on the other hand, had a cold expression and no longer looked at Zhang Xiaobai. Lu Pinru and Tan Ran were already used to this. It was as if the four of them had experienced this many times a day. It was as if he was already used to it. Lu Pinru said, "Let's go down the mountain and have a good meal. We can talk about our thoughts about the future." As Lu Pinru spoke, she looked at the lights at the foot of the mountain. Her eyes flickered. It was obvious that Lu Pinru was not as calm as she looked on the surface. Zhang Xiaobai was disappointed in the Extreme Guild Club's inaction after the incident and their attitude towards Xianning, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru. Lu Pinru had already given up on the Extreme Guild Club when she had been instructed to use her body to block a skill that would damage the soul. Lu Pinru had discovered the problem with the Extreme Guild Club a long time ago. She didn't want to stay in such a completely commercial guild club. At that time, Zhang Xiaobai, Xianning, and Tan Ran were all working hard for the tournament. Lu Pinru also wanted to stand on the arena with these three companions who had supported her all the way. Therefore, Lu Pinru had been suppressing her grudge against the Extreme Guild Club. Now that she knew what the Extreme Guild Club had done, Lu Pinru was the calmest. Lu Pinru's fluctuating emotions were completely filled with gratitude for Lin Yuan and the remembrance of her past self, who had dedicated all her youth to the Extreme Guild Club. Hearing Lu Pinru say that they want to talk about their future thoughts, Zhang Xiaobai hurriedly said, "I told you before that Lin Yuan has also established a guild club and wants to pull the four of us over. I have already agreed to go over to Lin Yuan. What do you guys think?" Upon hearing Zhang Xiaobai's question, Xianning rolled her eyes at him. "What do you mean?" Zhang Xiaobai was stunned by Xianying's question. He was a little confused. Then, Zhang Xiaobai heard Xianning say, "Do you still want to abandon me? The Extreme Guild Club's procedures have been completed. I'll go to the Extreme Guild Club tomorrow to confirm the contents of the contract. I'll be free after 3 days." Tan Ran also sat up from the ground and said seriously, "I also want to join Lin Yuan's guild club, but I am no longer as young as before." Tan Ran's words silenced Zhang Xiaobai and Xianning. Yes, Tan Ran, the youngest among them, was already 24 years old after the new year. He was no longer the youth he used to be. Zhang Xiaobai turned his head to look at the lights at the foot of the mountain and suddenly hesitated. At this moment, a calm and determined female voice rang out. "Why are you guys so depressed all of a sudden? Isn't our dream on the field? Let's just treat it as if the past dozen or so years have started all over again and will live again." Zhang Xiaobai, Xianning, and Tan Ran digested Lu Pinru's words. At this moment, Lu Pinru started humming out of tune. "The answer to dreams has always been in your own hands. Only you can give yourself strength." After singing one line, Lu Pinru continued. "Do you still remember this song by the Sparrow Voice Lowly Goddess? Lin Yuan put the answer to our dreams in our hands. Can't we catch it? Even if we're not strong enough and can't be members of the reserve team. It's also good to be a staff member in Lin Yuan's guild club. I can't repay what I owe Lin Yuan in this lifetime. For the rest of my life, I'll be doing odd jobs in Lin Yuan's guild club." Lu Pinru was usually very quiet and rarely spoke. However, Lu Pinru's words had a kind of infinite power that dispelled the confusion for the three of them and pointed out the direction ahead. Zhang Xiaobai, who had found the direction, once again revealed a frivolous smile on his face as he grinned. "Let's go to the arsenal to eat in a while. I found a super good store." When Xianning heard Zhang Xiaobai's words, she felt her fists itch again. Tan Ran did not understand what Zhang Xiaobai meant by the arsenal and thought she had heard wrong, so she asked, "Brother Xiaobai, what kind of place is the arsenal? Brother Bai, what kind of place is the armory? Can we still eat there?" Zhang Xiaobai winked and said with a grin, "Guns, bullets, cannons, everything. Guns, bullets, cannons, everything. There are even cow species phase and goat species phase. It's so beautiful. Let me tell you, every time I eat there, Xianing." Before Zhang Xiaobai could finish his words, he was punched by Xianing again. Tan Ran still didn't understand and was about to ask again when Lu Pinru covered his ears. Lu Pinru hurriedly said, "It's rare for a new buffet restaurant to open in the capital. It's said that the food is quite delicious. I wonder if it will close down like the other buffet restaurants. We have to seize the opportunity and quickly go and eat to our heart's content." After laughing and fooling around for a while, the four of them looked at the lights of the thousands of households at the foot of the mountain. The four of them felt an indescribable sense of carefreeness when they regained their original intentions. Suddenly, the four of them fell into a state of enlightenment. When Zhang Xiaobai opened his eyes, he found that the other three were staring at him. Zhang Xiaobai coughed lightly, stood up, and said arrogantly, "Ahem, I just accidentally comprehended a willpower rune." With that said, Zhang Xiaobai urged his mental strength and a rune with the will of hope shot out of Zhang Xiaobai's mind. After Zhang Xiaobai finished showing off, he saw the three of them looking at him like they were looking at a fool. Immediately after, Xianing, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru circulated their mental strength, and 3 willpower runes appeared at the same time and floated together with Zhang Xiaobai's willpower rune. At this moment, the 4 of them were dumbfounded. They looked at each other and felt that it was a little unbelievable. This was because the 4 willpower runes all carried almost the same flavor of hope. Immediately after, the 4 of them held hands and jumped on the top of the mountain, cheering loudly and full of carefreeness. They raised their joined hands, as if they could touch the sky. Zhang Xiaobai and the others arrived at the entrance of the Muxiang residence in the Fei carriage and were about to go in. Suddenly, a violent sound came from inside the Muxiang residence. A large number of water elements suddenly emerged in the Muxiang residence. As the water elements surged, a figure flew out along with the door and fell heavily to the ground. Immediately after, a delicate shout came from inside. "Shirsu, do you think you are a pig trotter or pig shoulder? How can this lady like you?" Seeing the situation in front of them, Zhang Xiaobai, Xianing, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru swallowed sluggishly. What is going on? Could it be that the Radiance 100 sequence number 8 Thunder Feast Shirsu confessed to the Radiance 100 sequence number 21 Zhao Xiaochun? This was a huge piece of news. Third, end of this chapter. Chapter 650. On an island covered with gems that shone brightly all day long, there were originally 8 towers of different postures standing on the ground covered with gems of various colors. 7 of the towers had 32 chanters kneeling on the ground, chanting softly. Every 32 chanters was led by a chanter. Their left hands were flipping through the secret tome inscribed with the patterns of their respective towers, while their right hands were waving in an intoxicated manner. However, under one of the towers, the 32 chanters and the chanter, who were supposed to be kneeling on the ground, had all stopped chanting and stood up. At this time, the tower had already risen from the ground and was suspended in mid-air. Inside the tower, there was a huge throne inlaid with all kinds of strange bones, and on top of it was a huge weird ball of flesh. Not far below the throne, a short-haired woman with hollow eyes was slowly shaking her head. The earring on the short-haired girl's left ear made a crisp sound as it swayed. The earring on the woman's left ear was very special. There were 3 colored crystals the size of a fingernail on it. Each of the 3 crystals had a mystical and extraordinary exotic beast swimming within them. Each of them contained a strong scent of the laws. Moreover, the rules of the strange beasts in each crystal were so strong that it was as if a single rule alone was enough to open up a world. However, these 3 worlds that were originally opened up by rules were imprisoned in this colored crystal that was only the size of a fingernail. Suddenly, a crisp voice came from the huge weird ball of flesh on the throne of bones. "Sister Third Page, why are you standing there and stroking your hair coquettishly? You look like an unaddressed love letter. So disgusting. Also, your expression is like a lost good that couldn't be sold in the last century and is now in the hands of this century." The purest voice uttered the harshest words, as if it was narrating an unchanging truth since time immemorial. Even if the short-haired woman with hollow eyes was extremely beautiful, it was as if she had become an ugly person who didn't dare to look in the mirror. Hearing this, the short-haired woman's hollow eyes suddenly flashed with a wicked light. He, 5th page of truth, you're leaving the Holy Land to go to the path of awesomeness. I'm kind enough to send you off, but you actually dare to say that I'm ugly. Aren't you afraid that I'll tear apart your rotten flesh and destroy the paradise inside? As soon as 3-page Eternal Sin's voice fell, a crack appeared on the huge, strange flesh on the skeleton throne. A boy with an unusually delicate appearance, like a porcelain doll, walked out from inside. Looking behind the little boy and into the huge flesh crack, it turned out to be a childlike amusement park. He could vaguely see the duckling toy inside and the half-eaten strawberry cake on the table. Don't worry, Sister Third Page. It's cruel to look at ugly people too closely. I'm not looking at you anymore. Hearing the words of the 5th page truth, the expressions on the faces of the 3rd page Eternal Sin disappeared. His eyes returned to their previous state of being empty holes. After a long while, 3rd page Eternal Sin said, "Big Sister wanted to tell you something this time, but it seems like you don't need to know anymore." Upon hearing this, the 5th page truth said indifferently, "You should worry about yourself." The totem moon that originally shone on the Dark Stone continent emitted the moonlight of the abbot and sublimated the Dark Stone continent by half. It destroyed almost all of 7th page War's arrangements on the Dark Stone path. How much do you think this has to do with Cheng Wu, who you recommended to Sister 7th page Truth? Sister 3rd page Truth is really a bad woman. Upon hearing that, 3-page Eternal Sin suddenly dodged and gently tapped the 5th page Truth's forehead with his finger. The 5th page Truth was startled by 3-page Eternal Sin's action, and then his expression became dignified. At that moment, 3-page Eternal Sin giggled again. The Radiance Federation's Moon Empress has reached that level. 7th page War needs to be afraid, but I don't. The 5th page Truth took a deep breath. His attitude toward 3-page Eternal Sin was no longer as unscrupulous as before. It turns out that in addition to Big Brother 1st page and Big Sister 2nd page, Big Sister 3rd page has also reached that level. Congratulations. The 5th page Truth was still in control of his innocent voice, saying words that were as convincing as the truth. However, his tone did not have the slightest hint of sincere congratulations. 3-page Eternal Sin turned and walked out of the tower. When he walked to the door, he shook the earring on his left ear and made a final sound. This time, you have moved the Tower of Truth to the Deep Brahman Federation on the Shockwave path. Be careful. After saying that, 3-page Eternal Sin jumped down and sat on the ground covered with gems under the tower. Upon hearing 3-page Eternal Sin's words, the 5th page Truth raised his hand, and an ordinary bone scepter appeared in his hand. He did not take 3-page Eternal Sin's words to heart at all. The 5th page Truth rubbed the bone scepter in his hand and pouted. Deep Brahman is just a seed that I sowed in the early years. Now, this seed has sprouted. It's time for me to grab the sprout that grew in Deep Brahman and pull out the entire soil. As the 5th page Truth's voice fell, the Tower of Truth, which was already floating, cut through the space with the momentum of breaking through the air. Standing on the ground, 3-page Eternal Sin murmured softly as he looked in the direction of the Tower of Truth's departure. Strange, the 5th page Truth's sacred source life form is special and can be said to be the most feared existence in this world. Everything in the world is guilty. But why does my sacred source life form, the punishment mirror, predict that the sin on the 5th page Truth's body will suddenly dissipate after a period of time? Strange. Really strange. With Hu Quan's help, Lin Yuan had fished out the 5 fortune ranchu that Duan he needed from the red sandalwood longevity fish tank with the exclusive skill primordial spirit transformation. Lin Yuan found that this spirit siphon goldfish had reached bronze flawless. Duan he was not in a hurry to contract a new fei. Just the meat of the pinnacle suzerain/myth 2 crow of calamity and dream-eating bat would keep Duan he busy for a period of time. However, Lin Yuan was a little puzzled. Each head of the 6-headed sea demon snake had an independent personality. Generally, the main head, which contained the most elemental energy, controlled the thoughts. However, with the crow of calamity and dream-eating bat's meat, the main head that controlled the 6-headed sea demon snake's thoughts would undoubtedly change owners to the smallest and most pitiful dark-type head. The dark-type head's personality would control the body. The 6-headed sea demon snake's soul did not change, and its feelings for Duan he did not change either. However, each personality was also relatively independent and a completely different existence. In that case, wouldn't Duan he have 6 wives with the 6-headed sea demon snake, purple demon? Moreover, as the 6-headed sea demon snake's strength grew, Duan he might have a 7th, 8th, or even 9th wife. Duan he was simply a scumbag who spoke righteously and had evidence to prove that he was a scumbag. From today onward, he would resume his 3-night watch. This was the first watch. End of this chapter. Chapter 651. After returning to his room, he entered the spirit lock spatial zone and saw Genius and Chimey helping him sort out the elemental pearls produced by the elemental shellfish. The elemental pearls were classified according to their attributes and purity. Even the 9 purity heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls were separated by Genius and Chimey according to the pearl rhythm. Even though the wind speed rapid antelope knew that Lin Yuan had entered, it didn't immediately get close to him. Instead, he was staring at the sea burial lotus flower as if he was staring at a thief. It was as if he would kill the sea burial lotus flower the moment it moved. The wind speed rapid antelope could control the violent winds to attack the bone lotus flowers that the sea burial lotus flower had produced. Genius scuttled to Lin Yuan's feet and skillfully climbed onto Lin Yuan's shoulder in a few moves. It then spoke in a childish voice. Lin Yuan, the sea burial lotus flower always steals the coral jade that you set up when Big Brother Goat is resting. When Big Brother Goat was resting, the sea burial lotus flower used the bone lotus flower to grab a few pieces of coral jade into the water. The sound of the water startled Big Brother Goat. Big Brother Goat has been staring at the sea burial lotus flower ever since he woke up. He hasn't left it at all. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan walked to the wind speed rapid antelope's side and rubbed its small head. You've already done very well. After speaking, he took another wind elemental pearl and crushed it before feeding it to the wind speed rapid antelope. He had previously asked the wind speed rapid antelope to help him manage the spirit lock spatial zone, but he hadn't expected it to have such a strong sense of responsibility. Just because of a few pieces of coral jade, he was competing with the sea burial lotus flower. However, Lin Yuan was very appreciative of the wind speed rapid antelope's actions. The wind speed rapid antelope was competing with the sea burial lotus flower because it clearly felt that it had failed to complete its mission. He had to take good care of the spirit lock spatial zone. After pacifying the wind speed rapid antelope, he grabbed the sea burial lotus flower out of the spirit pool. He found that the sea burial lotus flower's strength had increased too quickly in the spirit lock spatial zone. Right now, the sea burial lotus flower had already reached elite rank 4. A small piece of sobbing sea crystal that could be seen with the naked eye had already precipitated out from the roots. However, he was a little puzzled as to why the sea burial lotus flower would not absorb the spirit chi in the spirit lock spatial zone. Why would he covet those coral jades that hadn't completely grown insect patterns? Could it be that these coral jades, which only had a few insect patterns, were more attractive to the sea burial lotus flower than the pure and massive spirit chi in the spirit lock spatial zone? The carcinoma fae, the sea burial lotus flower, was a fae that didn't have high intelligence. It would instinctively choose the most beneficial evolution and survival method. From the looks of it, the coral jades in the spirit lock spatial zone were extremely useful to the sea burial lotus flower. According to the current growth rate of the insect patterns, he found at the time for a batch of coral jade to fully grow the insect patterns was equivalent to the time for the wood to completely jade textured. Back then, Lin Yuan had promised Gao Feng that he would provide 150 caddies of coral jade every 10 days. The quantity that he had provided Gao Feng was only about 2/5 of the coral jade that Lin Yuan needed to nurture. He was also planning to use 1/5 of the coral jade to nurture the supreme-grade angelfish of bliss that he had obtained from Gao Feng and the female angelfish of bliss that was about to give birth. Therefore, every time Lin Yuan nurtured the coral jade, he would still have 2/5 of the total left. Lin Yuan had originally planned to let Hu Quan make the remaining coral jades into luxury goods and sell them. However, the sea burial lotus flower had a need for the coral jade with insect patterns. Lin Yuan thought that he might as well feed the remaining 2/5 of the coral jade with insect patterns to the sea burial lotus flower and let it absorb it. Although the sea burial lotus flower had absorbed a few pieces of the coral jade with insect patterns and didn't have any changes, there was still a chance for the tumor fae to mutate and evolve. There had never been any precedent of the sea burial lotus flower evolving or mutating in the natural world. However, the coral jade with insect patterns was something that couldn't be nurtured in the natural world, even in the deep sea. Furthermore, the carcinoma fae, sea burial lotus flower, had only appeared once in the records. Just that one appearance had caused tens of thousands of square kilometers of barren land in the deep sea. Lin Yuan silently calculated in his heart. If he constantly fed the coral jade with insect patterns to the sea burial lotus flower, would the sea burial lotus flower have a chance to evolve and mutate? The more he thought about it, the brighter Lin Yuan's heart became. According to what his master, the Moon Empress, had said, some of the tumor faes would be able to evolve and mutate and would be able to form a contract with them. If the sea burial lotus flower could evolve and mutate, and the evolved sea burial lotus flower would be useful to Lin Yuan could form a contract with the sea burial lotus flower. After all, the fruits on the cinnabar Osmanthus haworthia would mature after a period of time. After eating it, Lin Yuan wouldn't need to rely on Morbius spirit lock ability and could truly form a contract with a fae. The sea burial lotus flower was a plant-type fae, and it was within the range of what Lin Yuan could form a contract with. Previously, when Lin Yuan had formed a contract with Genius and Chimey, they had been so weak that they couldn't even be considered faes. Otherwise, Lin Yuan wouldn't have fainted on the spot after forming a contract with Genius and Chimey with his pitiful spiritual energy. After waking up, he would have had a headache for half a month. Instead, he would have been sent to heaven. Lin Yuan might have decided to feed the coral jade with insect patterns to the sea burial lotus flower, but secretly eating it wasn't a good habit. Therefore, Lin Yuan did the same thing as when he had just obtained the sea burial lotus flower and trained it. This training session took a full 2 hours. After 2 hours, the sea burial lotus flower was abnormally obedient. Every time it saw Lin Yuan reach out, it would involuntarily raise a small white flower. She wrapped Lin Yuan's finger with the flower. Lin Yuan poured the spirit siphon goldfish that Duan he needed into the spirit pool and let the spirit siphon goldfish, which had the exclusive skill of spirit primordial conversion, be raised in the spirit pool first. Then, he took the brocade pouch that Duan He had just given him. He carefully poured the law crystal fragments from the brocade pouch onto the workbench. At the same time, he summoned the sacred sword-wielding queen. Unexpectedly, after the sacred sword-hugging queen was summoned, she did not even look at the law crystal fragments on the table. Instead, he said while drooling, "Master, let me eat that bag of laws of nature origin crystals first, okay?" Lin Yuan was delighted to hear that. Looks like my contracted sacred source lifeform is pretty picky. However, it seemed that the picky princess was quite easy to take care of. After all, compared to the law crystals of suzerain/myth breed phase, the law origin crystals produced in the bodies of class 7 dimensional lifeforms were undoubtedly much easier to obtain. Naturally, Lin Yuan would not reject his contracted sacred source lifeform's request. He took out the other brocade pouch that Duan He had given him and poured the law origin crystals from the brocade pouch onto the workbench as well. There would be one more in a while. End of this chapter. Chapter 652. Lin Yuan counted carefully and found that there were a total of 21 law origin crystals on the workbench. These 21 law origin crystals were proof of Duan He's current strength, or perhaps even earlier. He had killed at least 21 level 7-dimensional creatures with strength equivalent to the suzerain/myth I realm. Lin Yuan could not help but sigh at Duan He's or the six-headed sea demon snake's strength in the same grade. Lin Yuan said to the princess, whose eyes were shining as she looked at the law origin crystals, "Absorb these law origin crystals first. You should absorb these law origin crystals first so that I can investigate the types of law crystal fragments." The sacred sword-hugging princess received Lin Yuan's permission and happily picked up the turbid law origin crystals. One by one, she embedded the law origin crystals into the crown on her forehead. When he saw the princess embedding the law origin crystals into the crown, Lin Yuan could not help but think of how Zhao Xiaochun ate. This was simply too similar. Lin Yuan was about to say that the 21 turbid law origin crystals embedded in the princess crown looked a little ugly. But then, the 21 turbid law origin crystals embedded in the crown shone like stars. Each law origin crystal scattered a starry rain, and the starlight fell on the princess' fluffy and wide dress. Upon seeing the princess absorbing the law origin crystals, Lin Yuan turned his head and began to examine the pile of law crystal fragments on the table in front of him. When Duan He had poured the law crystal fragments into his hand, Lin Yuan had felt that there were a lot of them. However, after using Morbius True data to check, Lin Yuan realized that this handful of law crystal fragments had only come from 5 suzerain/myth I phase. It was just that a complete law crystal would shatter into many fragments. There were gaps in the fragments, and when mixed together, these fragments appeared to be much more than 5 complete law crystals. Lin Yuan carefully picked out these law crystal fragments. After he was done, Lin Yuan muttered softly, "Did Duan He destroy the horned gray whale family?" Lin Yuan found that 3 of the 5 suzerain/myth I phase that had contributed law crystal fragments came from the horned gray whales. Lin Yuan finally understood why Duan He's 6-headed sea demon snake's water-type main head was more than twice the size of the heads of the other attributes. It was probably because it had eaten the meat of these 3 suzerain/myth I water-type horned gray whales. The laws comprehended by these 3 horned gray whales were very similar, but their tastes were also slightly different. The wave law, cut law, and vortex law. These 3 laws were the laws that extended from the water element's attack direction and were considered 3 very ordinary laws. However, he felt that these 3 laws were exceptionally suitable for the function of the princess' sacred sword form. The sacred sword's blade was unleashed. The sacred sword queen's sacred sword queen's sword form was light sword queen's sword form. Sword queen's sacred sword queen's sword form. Another pile of gilded flame dragon lice came from a fire attribute Fey and comprehended the scorching flame law. If the sacred sword-hugging queen absorbed these 5 piles of law crystal fragments, the sacred sword-hugging queen wouldn't be able to absorb them. Sword crystals, sword divine of law, sacred crystals, sword to each of the sacred of law of crystals. However, in addition to the 3 complete law crystals that the princess's silk coon had absorbed previously, the princess's silk coon now contained 8 types of laws that originated from the 5 elements of light, darkness, ice, water, fire, and light. At that moment, Lin Yuan suddenly heard the rustling of leaves and 2 strange chirps. One of the chirps sounded unfamiliar to Lin Yuan, but he couldn't tell what it was. However, he could clearly hear that the other chirp was a crow's chirp. Lin Yuan turned his head and was stunned by the sacred sword-wielding queen's transformation. The 21 turbid law origin crystals that were originally embedded on the crown of the princess had shrunk to the size of a tiny diamond. Looking at these broken diamonds, he could feel the pure rule force contained in them. He knew that the sacred sword-hugging queen had purified that trace of pure power of law in the law origin crystal. Originally, the queen's skirt had been formed from the ice flame law, dark death law, and dead dream law. Now, they had taken the form of the frigid snow pine, the dark night calamity crow, and the dream-eating bat. At this moment, the illusory figure came to life. The dark night calamity crow and the dream-eating bat represented darkness and hovered high in the sky. The cold snow pine was like a snowy mountain that was infinitely tall and pierced the sky. As for the willpower from the dark-eyed scorpion tiger and the dark spirit-eye tadpole, it didn't increase in the slightest after the princess had absorbed the law origin crystals. Instead, after the aura of the law increased, the aura of the willpower both became dormant. They only decorated the inconspicuous parts of the skirt. At that moment, the 2 auras of the law that hovered in the sky suddenly bloomed on the princess's skirt. The auras of the dark night calamity crow and the dream-eating bat kept increasing, and the power of law contained within them instantly became several times stronger. The dark night calamity crow and the dream-eating bat also became more agile due to the increase in the aura of law. Lin Yuan sensed the dark night calamity crow and the dream-eating bat formed by dead dreams law rune. He found that the power of law contained within them was already comparable to Suzerain/Myth 3 Endless Summers Enlightenment Law. Obviously, with the nourishment of these 21 law origin crystals, Dead Night and Dead Dreams laws, which were originally on the verge of breaking through, had both broken through. Lin Yuan could not help but sigh. The goal that the Dark Night Calamity Raven and the Dream-Eating Bat had been fighting for all this time had actually been achieved by him in such a way. At this moment, the Sacred Sword Queen opened her eyes and stretched her body in satisfaction. He said to Lin Yuan, "Master, Dark Death's Law and Dead Dreams Law have reached the Myth 3 phase control law intensity. In the future, when using the Holy Sword function, even if the owner uses the blade of the Holy Sword to strike out the Death of Night and Dead Dream laws, the Death of Night and Dead Dream laws won't dissipate. Instead, it can be nourished by the princess's dress and slowly recover its energy." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. He could not bear to consume one law every time he struck with the sacred sword's blade. After all, law crystals were simply too hard to obtain. Lin Yuan asked. "Since the Dark Night Calamity Raven and the Dream-Eating Bat's comprehended laws won't dissipate when they reach the Myth 3 level, then the Cold Snow Pine's Ice Flame rune won't dissipate when it reaches the Myth 3 level, right?" The holy sword-wielding princess nodded and pointed at her princess robe. "The Sacred Sword Queen's dress has absorbed a complete law. When it reaches the Myth 3 level, it will form a complete totem on the dress. Only the law that forms the totem won't dissipate." Lin Yuan looked in the direction of the Sacred Sword Queen's finger and found that there was indeed a crow and bat totem embroidered on the dress with plain silk thread. Chapter 3. End of this chapter. Chapter 653. Lin Yuan thought that this change might be related to suzerain Fei's being able to marshal body transformation at Myth 3. It was just that the body that had been turned into a weapon had now lost its physical body. Thus, it could only form a totem on the princess' skirt. Lin Yuan pointed at the pile of law crystal fragments and said, "Absorb these too. You should absorb these too." The more law crystals that contained pure power of the law, the better for Lin Yuan. Even if only the mother of bloodbath and endless summer could use them now. Who knew if the others in the mansion or even he himself would be able to use them one day? To the princess, there was nothing more joyous than having a meal. As the skirt spun, the 5 piles of law crystal fragments were shaken by the skirt and scattered toward the crown on the princess' head. Immediately after, Lin Yuan noticed that the princess' skirt underwent another drastic change. Under the influence of the 3 piles of horned gray whale law crystal fragments, the skirt turned into layers of waves. In the blink of an eye, the waves turned into a boundless sea. A ferocious insect covered in orange flames was lying on the cold snow pine that was as tall as a snowy peak. The ferocious insect shook its wings and emitted bursts of dragon might. However, it seemed to be very afraid of the dark plague crows and dream-eating bats in the sky and did not dare to rise into the sky. It only dared to lie on the cold snow pine's branches. The orange flames on its body fused with the cold snow pine's ice flames and became very beautiful. 3 shadows suddenly appeared in the ocean formed by the skirt. The 3 shadows grew bigger, and then the huge whale with 3 long horns emerged from the sea. It then smashed into the sea, creating turbulent waves. The huge whale with long horns appeared for a long time, but the waves on the sea had not calmed down. It was as if there were countless undercurrents and whirlpools. At that moment, a faint light appeared in the deep sea, as if it was guiding people into the deep sea. Lin Yuan felt that the Sacred Sword Queen's sacred source lifeform was strong. It was just the grand world formed by the princesses Luo Kun absorbing the laws within the various law crystals. It gave Lin Yuan a kind of indescribable feeling. It was unknown how many gigantic creatures were contained in the waves formed by the bottom of the skirt. It forcefully bore all the unknown, deep and undetectable. It was as if layers upon layers of mysteries were gathered under each wave. Suddenly, he entered a state of epiphany. The willpower rune related to inclusiveness and vastness, which he had comprehended outside Indigo Azure City at the coastal front sea, condensed in his mind. The vastness of the sea converged from all directions, gathering water from all directions. Lin Yuan did not expect that the 2 willpower runes that he had comprehended would be so powerful. He didn't comprehend the willpower rune that was suitable for genius. Instead, he comprehended the willpower rune that was suitable for Blackie. Lin Yuan was not in a hurry to enhance Blackie into a fantasy breed. Anyway, he could feel that he could comprehend the knowledge willpower rune in his mind that was suitable for genius in these 2 days. At that time, he could strengthen genius and Little Black together and evolve them into fantasy breeds. When the queen finished absorbing the 5 piles of law crystals, Lin Yuan realized that her star class had not advanced from 1 star to 2 star. Looks like I still have a long way to go before I can become a sacred source life form, sacred sword-wielding princess. He did not know when princess would be able to advance to 4 stars and enter the growth stage to unlock new functions. Tomorrow was the opening day of the private territory. Thus, Lin Yuan carried Genius and Chimey to rest early in the morning. However, for one person in the manor, he experienced a qualitative transformation that night. The flying paper fragments condensed into Wen Yu's figure in the Hidden Moon Pavilion. Wen Yu, who had just condensed her figure, panted heavily inside. Using the source paper to use the paper dance skill to travel really consumes too much spirit chi. It seems like before becoming a B-rank spirit chi professional, it is more convenient to ride the sunlight egret when coming to the Hidden Moon Pavilion. Wen Yu rummaged through the Hidden Moon Pavilion's bookshelves and found the information of the Miao family and the Miao family's experts. Wen Yu arranged the information and the Miao family's experts on the table. Then, Wen Yu said softly, "Source paper, use the exclusive skill, Heaven Listening Mystic Technique." As Wen Yu's voice echoed, she turned into a huge ancient book. The ancient book flipped and fluttered in the air, causing the paper to dance. As the paper danced, it created a breeze that flipped the Miao family's information and the Miao family's experts on the table. In just a moment, the pile of ancient books and the Miao family's experts on the table was blown to the last page by the breeze. Then, Wen Yu, who had turned into an ancient book, returned to her figure and put her hands on the table. She was obviously very tired. The overdraft of spiritual power made Wen Yu hurriedly sit on the chair, take out the spirit fluid that she had concocted from the face storage box, and drink it. The paper that was originally fluttering fell in an orderly manner beside Wen Yu's hand. The stack of paper was even taller than the Hidden Moon Pavilion's information and the Miao family's experts. Wen Yu thought to herself. The source paper's exclusive skill, Heaven Listening Mystic Technique, consumes more spirit qi than the paper dance skill. However, it is really convenient to organize information and gather intelligence. A smile hung on Wen Yu's pale face due to the overdraft of spiritual power. She was finally becoming more and more useful to Lin Yuan and Sky City. Wen Yu did not know that behind the rows of bookshelves in the Hidden Moon Pavilion, there was a man in a silver robe. The man with a clear and bright look on his face looked at her. When Mystic Moon looked at Wen Yu, especially the source-type source paper that she had contracted, she knew that Lin Yuan valued her very much. In the beginning, as a spirit attendant, Wen Yu was an existence that Mystic Moon would not even look at. After Lin Yuan had named Wen Yu as his assistant, Mystic Moon realized that this girl, who she usually did not look at, was also improving at a speed beyond her understanding. She was also improving at a speed that was beyond her understanding. Mystic Moon still remembered that after being selected as Lin Yuan's assistant, Wen Yu felt that she was not strong enough and insisted on meeting the Moon Empress. She was just a person that Mystic Moon could not see any good points. However, when the Moon Empress asked Mystic Moon to bring Wen Yu, Mystic Moon discovered that Wen Yu had never shown her wisdom that was far beyond ordinary people. Looking at the current Wen Yu, Mystic Moon's original thoughts were stirred again. At that moment, Wen Yu heard a clear laughter coming from beside her. Wen Yu looked up and found Mystic Moon looking at her. Wen Yu hurriedly stood up and greeted. "Greetings, Lady Mystic Moon." When greeting Mystic Moon, Wen Yu was still somewhat perturbed. As the chief supervisor of the Radiant Moon Palace, Mystic Moon was usually in charge of everything in the Radiant Moon Palace for the Moon Empress. Although Wen Yu had come into contact with Mystic Moon many times through Lin Yuan, whenever she faced Mystic Moon alone, Wen Yu still could not help but feel a little nervous. At that moment, Wen Yu was very puzzled. Lady Mystic Moon was usually so busy, but now that she was standing in front of her, it was obvious that she had something to talk to her about. She did not know what it was about. First, even more. Begging for monthly votes and recommendation votes. Meow, meow, meow. End of this chapter. Chapter 654. Wen Yu bowed and said when she saw that Xian Yu did not speak for a long time. "Lady Black Moon, I've already finished looking up all the information I need to in the Hidden Moon Pavilion. I didn't notice that Lady Mystic Moon was in the Hidden Moon Pavilion before I came in, so I disturbed Lady Mystic Moon. I hope Lady Mystic Moon can forgive me." Xian Yu looked at Wen Yu and did not reply immediately. Instead, he casually flipped through the information about the Miao family and the biographies of the experts of the Miao family. His Highness had a conflict with the Miao family? When Wen Yu heard this, she looked at Xian Yu with a respectful expression, but she didn't reply. In her heart, she was now Lin Yuan's woman. If Mystic Moon asked about Lin Yuan and the Sky City, Lin Yuan could casually tell her about it. However, without Lin Yuan's permission, she felt that she should not reveal the news about Lin Yuan and Sky City to anyone. Seeing this, Xian Yu let out a bright laugh. He looked at Wen Yu with increasing satisfaction. During the New Year's banquet, Mystic Moon had looked at the Moon Empress and Lin Yuan, as though Cold Moon and Chu Ci were deeply in love with each other. He couldn't help but want to take him as his disciple. However, when the thought of accepting a disciple surfaced in her mind, she realized that the only person who appeared in her mind was Wen Yu, who had guided her several times before. Mystic Moon was usually in charge of the Radiant Moon Palace's external affairs, so she was very busy. Thus, Xian Yu had never paid much attention to the younger generation. The thought of accepting her as a disciple made Xian Yu realize that the only person she could choose and was interested in was Wen Yu. In a few days, Xian Yu was going to leave for the outer realm and coincidentally bumped into Wen Yu. Xian Yu felt that it was better to make it even more coincidental. Xian Yu had never valued a person's talent. In Mystic Moon's opinion, as long as one could comprehend a willpower rune, everything else could be achieved with resources. Even if the affinity with phase was unorthodox, if there was a top-notch creation master to tailor-make it, it would be much easier. Even the choice of phase would still be limited. In the end, there wasn't much difference between them and those who had a wide range of phase. After all, a person could only contract a limited number of phase. Compared to talent, Xian Yu valued Wen Yu's intelligence more. She had also displayed her loyalty to Lin Yuan. As one of the two Moon Envoys, no one knew better than Xian Yu how much the Moon Empress valued Lin Yuan. Even Song Yu, who was also one of the two Moon Envoys, was not as clear as Xian Yu because she had been accompanying Chu Ci in Redbud City for the past few months. In Mystic Moon's heart, she had long acknowledged Lin Yuan as young lord and treated him as her junior. Wen Yu was now playing the same role beside Lin Yuan as Mystic Moon played beside the Moon Empress. Compared to accepting a disciple, Mystic Moon was more willing to pour in effort to nurture a loyal and capable chief butler for Lin Yuan. Just as Wen Yu was about to say something, she saw Xian Yu smile brightly. "Wen Yu, how about becoming my disciple?" Xian Yu's words exploded in Wen Yu's ears like a clap of thunder. It could be said that Wen Yu respected Xian Yu very much. If not for Xian Yu's guidance, even if Wen Yu's intelligence was astonishing, she would not have been able to understand it so quickly. During this time, he had been proving his value to Lin Yuan. Although Wen Yu had received guidance from Xian Yu, she had never dared to think that one day Xian Yu would become her master. However, Wen Yu, who had grown up in an environment where the Radiant Moon Palace's spirit attendants competed with each other, maintained her original heart despite having good intentions. She did not let her heart be clouded by the competition. However, after so many years of competition, Wen Yu understood that opportunities were always given to those who were prepared. Furthermore, there were some opportunities that could be lost in the blink of an eye like the sand between one's fingers. After that, even if he wanted to hold it again, he wouldn't be able to. Wen Yu said hurriedly, "Lord Mystic Moon, I am willing to be your disciple." Hearing this, Xian Yu's usually clear and bright eyes became gentle as she said in a warm voice, "Since you are willing, why are you still calling me Lord Xian Yu?" Wen Yu hurriedly corrected herself when she heard this, and she shouted respectfully and solemnly, "Master." When Mystic Moon heard Wen Yu addressing her as master, she suddenly felt that she had another responsibility apart from being the Moon Empress Moon Envoy. Xian Yu, who had just become Wen Yu's master, did not dote on her too much. Instead, her expression immediately turned serious. "I will be very strict as your master. In the future, you must learn everything that I teach you." Wen Yu heard this and nodded her head vigorously. Wen Yu had experienced Mystic Moon's teaching method before. That force-feeding style of education had caused Wen Yu, who had just received Mystic Moon's guidance, to have the intention to give up several times. However, after enduring it, Wen Yu could actually feel her shocking growth in just a month. Although this growth process was arduous, it was very fulfilling. Wen Yu loved this feeling. Wen Yu promised, "No matter how strict Master is, I will be able to endure it. I will also earnestly learn what Master teaches me." Just as Wen Yu's voice fell, she felt a horrifying pressure rising in front of her. The dazzling silver luster was like the reflection of the moon in the water, causing ripples to appear in the space. Wen Yu looked up and saw Mystic Moon, who was wearing a silver robe. Her originally black hair had already turned crystal silver. Mystic Moon's face was also covered in silver dragon patterns, and there were 2 sharp silver horns on her head. When Wen Yu saw the 2 horns on Mystic Moon's head, even though she had a calm personality, she almost exclaimed. Wen Yu, who had lived in the Radiant Moon Palace since she was young, did not expect Mystic Moon, or rather, her master, Mystic Moon, to be a fae. Just by sensing the dense dragon pressure that erupted from Mystic Moon's body, Wen Yu knew that Mystic Moon was a fae with a dragon species bloodline. Wen Yu had seen many dragon species faes before, including Zhou Luo's diamond/fantasy breed lava dragon lizard. However, under the dragon species pressure in front of her, the dragon species pressure that Wen Yu had felt before was not even qualified to be a reptile. Or rather, the two could not be compared at all, as though they were not the same bloodline. As a creation master, Wen Yuming guessed that the dragon species bloodline in her master Mystic Moon was no longer as simple as the main dragon species bloodline. The concentration of this bloodline was definitely above the legendary main dragon species bloodline. What happened next made Wen Yu, who was already very shocked, widen her eyes even more. She did not expect Lady Mystic Moon to become her path protector after becoming her master. However, Wen Yu did not understand why she had heard of swearing with a willpower rune and a law rune. But what was with swearing with a realm? The second was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 655. After Mystic Moon became Wen Yu's path protector, she retracted her aura. She returned to her original appearance. Mystic Moon said to Wen Yu, "I'm leaving for the Outer Realm in 5 days. I'll be leaving for the Outer Realms in 5 days. Stay here with me for the next few days. I'll help you increase your strength too." Wen Yu was about to respond when she remembered that Sky City Star Web private faction territory would be announced the next morning. She was going to the private faction territory with Lin Yuan, so she said to Mystic Moon, "Master, I'm going to Star Web with Lin Yuan tomorrow. I'm going to Star Web with Lin Yuan tomorrow to deal with some matters. That's why I want to tell Lin Yuan first before coming to the Radiant Moon Palace to look for you." Mystic Moon looked at Wen Yu with amusement and thought to herself. She only said that she and Lin Yuan were going to Star Web, but she did not say what they were going to do. "Do you think I don't know what's going on? 1/3 of Star Web is made up of my sacred source life form, the brain of domination." Mystic Moon thought of Lin Yuan's arrangement of his private faction territory and the people who went to watch the show every day. Mystic Moon found it very interesting. Mystic Moon could not help but wonder how Lin Yuan's brain worked. He actually relied on this method to keep the private faction territory on the visit list before it was announced. It had even been on the private faction territory's hot topic list yesterday. For any private faction territory to be famous, it needed to constantly accumulate popularity and word of mouth. However, Lin Yuan's simple operation had reached a level of popularity that other rising factions could not match even if they worked hard for a decade. If Lin Yuan, who was sleeping, knew what Mystic Moon was thinking, he would be amazed at her imagination. Compared to the idlers who came to watch the show in his private faction territory, Lin Yuan could not understand why there were people in this world who were so bored. Why did his private faction territory have to be laughed at every day without any arrangements? Was it really fun to laugh at others? How could they laugh at his private faction territory that did not have an announcement function? Xian Yu raised her hand and a 7-colored ball of light appeared in her hand. Go and ask Lin Yuan for leave. I will help you form a marrow contract with this sacred source life form now. Only when your strength increases will you be able to help Lin Yuan more. When Wen Yu heard Mystic Moon's words, she felt that Mystic Moon's words were very reasonable. She picked up her cell phone and prepared to call Lin Yuan. However, when she thought that Lin Yuan might already be asleep at this time, she suddenly had an idea. With a raise of her hand, a piece of paper appeared out of thin air in her hand. Immediately after, the paper condensed into the shape of a paper crane. The paper crane flew with the wind and disappeared in a flash. When Yu used the paper crane agreement to inform Lin Yuan that she would stay in the Radiant Moon Palace during this period and told him not to worry. Just as the night was about to end, Wen Yu, who had been closing her eyes to form a marrow contract with the sacred source life form, suddenly opened them. In an instant, a rhombus-shaped crystal suddenly appeared in the center of her forehead. The inside of the crystal seemed to have a cat's eye pattern. The moment the rhombus-shaped crystal on Wen Yu's forehead opened, the veins of the cat's eye seemed to weave a world of dreams. In this world of dreams, there were people sitting in a dream, holding a grand meeting. When Lin Yuan got up, he saw Genius lying on his pillow and looking at him with its round blue eyes. Chimey was still sleeping soundly on Genius's head. From time to time, it would use its feathers to rub against Genius's soft hair. It was very comfortable. Genius was holding a paper crane in its mouth. When it saw that Lin Yuan had woken up, it handed the paper crane to him. Since he had used true data to check Wen Yu's contract with the source paper, Lin Yuan knew that this was the source paper's ability, paper crane agreement. When he saw the content of the paper crane, Lin Yuan could not help but feel happy for Wen Yu. With Mystic Moon as her master, Wen Yu would undoubtedly learn many things. As Lin Yuan had woken up early, it was only 6:00 now. Logically speaking, Lu Jie should have just woken up and had not made breakfast. When Lin Yuan went downstairs, he found Lu Jie and Duan He, who had gone to the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce last night, sitting on the sofa with grave expressions. In front of Duan He was a man who had fainted and was covered in blood. Lin Yuan's brows furrowed. When Duan He and Lu Jie saw Lin Yuan, they did not speak. What's going on? Duan He hastily replied. Last night, you asked me to go to the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce to protect Listen and Zhou Luo. In the end, someone was secretly eavesdropping on their conversation late at night. Although this person's strength hasn't reached the king tier, he's contracted with a diamond tier storm dire wolf. His speed is simply too fast. Neither Zhou Luo nor Fei Qianxiong are fast spirit qi professionals. Furthermore, when this person escaped, he also killed 7 or 8 Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce's staff. I told Zi Yao to attack, but in the end, Zi Yao was a little too heavy-handed. Listen asked Fei Qianxiong last night, and he said that this person isn't a member of the Iron Wall Chamber of Commerce, so I brought him here. Hearing Duan He's words, Lu Jie frowned. Lu Jie had just gone downstairs to prepare breakfast. When he encountered this matter, he thought that Duan He wanted Lin Yuan to save them. He didn't expect the unconscious man covered in blood to be an enemy spy. Just as Lu Jie was about to speak, Lin Yuan spoke to Duan He. Senior Duan He, if something like this happens again, don't bring it into the mansion. Lin Yuan's words puzzled Duan He. Then, Duan He heard Lin Yuan speak again. Chu Ci is still young. Senior Duan He saw her last night. Upon hearing that, Duan He immediately scratched his head in embarrassment. Duan He thought to himself that he had been too careless. At this time, Lu Jie had already pulled the person on the ground up and directly carried him to the open space under the cinnabar sweet osmanthus. Lin Yuan looked at the unconscious man covered in blood and waved his hand. A green ray of light landed on the man covered in blood. When Duan He saw that Lin Yuan was treating the man, he said, "Don't worry. This person probably can't be saved." Both of his spirit items were eaten by the purple demon. It's a small matter for the phase spirit to be injured after its death, but after being struck by the purple demon's tail whip, apart from the skull, all the other bones should have been broken. With this kind of injury, it would be hard for him not to die. The third one. End of chapter. Chapter 656. Not long after Duan He finished speaking, his eyes widened abruptly. This was because Duan He had discovered that the vitality in the body of the person who was originally only left with a weak aura was slowly becoming richer. Duan He looked at Lin Yuan and felt his face hurting. Duan He went forward to check. When his hand touched the man's body, he discovered that many of the man's broken bones had already grown back together. Duan He looked at Lin Yuan with an increasingly shocked gaze. Previously, Duan He didn't know that Lin Yuan was a healing-type spirit chi professional. Now that he knew, he didn't expect Lin Yuan's healing-type fei to be so domineering. Even such a serious injury could be healed. Most importantly, he did not summon his fei, yet it already had such a powerful healing effect. By then, the man on the ground had already woken up. When he saw Duan He instinctively shrunk back. But as he retreated, he slammed into the trunk of the cinnabar sweet osmanthus. This caused the cinnabar sweet osmanthus to scatter a tree of red flowers. The falling petals of the cinnabar sweet osmanthus carried the unique fragrance of the cinnabar sweet osmanthus, and it invigorated the injured man's two feis. Lin Yuan took advantage of the fact that the man had just woken up and was still in a daze, and he was infected by the cinnabar sweet osmanthus's fragrance. Guanji, who was both clear-headed and confused, asked, "Did the Zheng family's third lineage ask you to investigate the listening heron chamber of commerce?" The middle-aged man said subconsciously. "No, its second young master." Upon hearing the middle-aged man's words, Lin Yuan raised his brows as expected. At this time, the middle-aged man who had just crawled up from the ground realized that he had said the wrong thing and hurriedly knelt down. "I'll tell you everything you want to know. I can use all the secrets I know to exchange for my life." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan looked at the middle-aged man on the ground and said coldly, "Logically speaking, the person sent by the main bloodline of the Zheng family to gather information shouldn't be someone who would casually leak the information he knows. It seems that people who have died once and come back to life understand the value of life better than ordinary people. Since you understand the value of life, you should know that you have to pay the price for killing many ordinary employees of the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce last night." Lin Yuan ignored the middle-aged man kneeling on him and turned to speak to Duan He. "Senior Duan He, since you brought this person here, I'll leave him to you." After saying that, Lin Yuan turned around and walked into the mansion. Genius used its little head to nudge Lin Yuan's palm and wagged its little tail. In its smart world, it felt that Lin Yuan was extremely handsome. However, Lin Yuan's heart was going through another metamorphosis. When Lin Yuan had been training in the controlled Class 3 Abyss Dimensional Rift, he hadn't shown any mercy to those who wanted to kill him. Those who wanted to kill Lin Yuan were all buried under the rolling yellow sand. Now that Lin Yuan had established a faction, he was no longer one or two people. He could no longer think about problems from a personal point of view. As a force supported by Sky City, it could be said that everyone in the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce, even an ordinary employee, was inextricably linked to Sky City. The Zheng family's spies had casually killed nearly 10 employees in the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce, which had hardened Lin Yuan's heart. Lin Yuan understood that no snowflake was innocent in an avalanche. The fixed scale in Lin Yuan's heart suddenly had 2 more chips added to it. These 2 chips were the enemy and himself. After thinking it through, Lin Yuan felt that he had been too passive and soft-hearted in dealing with the Zheng family's matter. Lin Yuan turned his head and said to Duan He, who was outside the door. Senior Duan He, the Zheng family's territory is in Indigo Azure City. The royal capital is not a place for the Zheng family to behave atrociously. Upon hearing that, Duan He immediately understood what Lin Yuan meant and immediately promised. Young master, leave this matter to me. Don't worry. After tonight, not a single living member of the Zheng family will exist in the royal capital. At that moment, Lu Jie walked to Lin Yuan's side and said, "That's right. Lin Yuan, we have already formed a grudge with the Zheng family. During the active phase of the dimensional rift, it is impossible for the Zheng family to have any large-scale operations. But there will always be some tricks played behind the scenes. Since Listen wants to develop the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce by taking the route of luxury resources and conducting large transactions of all kinds of luxury resources, we can take the initiative to let the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce declare war on the Zheng family in business." As a Radiance 100 sequence member, Lu Jia might not have joined any faction before, but he understood the cruelty of the struggles between the various factions. In Lu Jia's opinion, since they were going to fight, whoever attacked first would have the upper hand. Lin Yuan had plenty of materials for luxury resources. In terms of production, he also had the support of the Heavenly Craft Pavilion established by the Class 5 Spirit Craftsman, Hu Quan. In the Radiance Federation's huge market, there would never be a shortage of good luxury resources. Even if the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce was only a drop in the bucket compared to the Zheng family, it controlled the three aspects of raw materials, processing, and market. There was no possibility of the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce losing. Lu Jie recalled that when he had been tidying up the manor, he had seen 5 to 6 boxes of completely jade-textured wood debris in the storage room. If the Zheng family wanted to rely on the foundation of a veteran faction to fight a price war with the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce, they would have to pay a painful price for their decision. Even if the Zheng family had a strong financial chain, they would still have to pay a painful price for their decision. Those boxes of completely jade-textured wood debris were still being stored in the storage room like garbage. Furthermore, as Hu Quan used the entire piece of completely jade-textured wood, they were still increasing. Upon hearing Lu Jie's words, Lin Yuan nodded and replied, "Let Listen declare war on the Zheng family." It's possible to let Listen declare war on the Zheng family. However, Uncle Hu's Heavenly Craft Pavilion only has over 33-star spirit craftsmen, which is far from enough. Lin Yuan began to calculate in his heart. According to the current development, there would be more and more places where he would need to use Class 3 spirit craftsmen in the future. Just the construction of the underground space in his return from Faraway Manor and Master Hong Shen's residence. There was also the expansion of the guild base and the artificial lake inside the return from Faraway Manor. Even after the spatial tunnel connected to the Divine Wood Federation, Lin Yuan would have to build a base there. The most important thing was the construction of Sky City's main city after the June floating island whale hatched. Each of these required a large number of spirit craftsman resources as support. Moreover, if the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce wanted to rely on luxury resources to become bigger and stronger, it would always need a large number of spirit craftsmen behind it to create for it day and night. It seemed that he should tell Hu Quan. He should let Hu Quan visit the Spirit Craftsman Guilds in the Radiance Federation's 32 major cities as a Class 5 Spirit Craftsman to attract more Class 3 Spirit Craftsmen. First, more. Seeking recommendation votes. Seeking monthly votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 657. After breakfast, Lin Yuan told Hu Quan his thoughts. After hearing Lin Yuan's thoughts, Hu Quan's eyes lit up like light bulbs. When Hu Quan had established the Heavenly Craft Pavilion, he had wanted to make a name for himself. After all, spirit craftsmen needed to devote their entire lives to pursue an art profession. If they could not be recognized, no matter how much value they created, it would still not be considered a success. With Lin Yuan's support, Hu Quan felt that the Heavenly Craft Pavilion he had established might be stronger than the Spirit Craftsman Guild in the future. After returning to his room, Lin Yuan logged on to Star Web as Black. After logging into the Star Web, Lin Yuan first informed Tian Ningning about his recent situation. Recently, Lin Yuan's black identity seemed to have disappeared without a trace. However, Tian Ningning did not become idle because of this. There were simply too many female fans of Black, especially male mothers. These male mothers had green eyes and forcibly made Black's few battle videos remain in the top 100 of the Celestial Stairway video library after so long. Poison Beauty was the one who benefited the most from this. It was just that Poison Beauty, who had benefited so much, was very distressed recently. She did not expect that someone would poach her to conduct luxury goods auctions on Star Web to be a live streamer selling goods. The other party did not prohibit her from engaging in other live streaming activities. However, if she went to sell goods, her live streaming time on the Celestial Stairway would undoubtedly be much less. This was likely to cause Poison Beauty's rising popularity to decrease. Logically speaking, Poison Beauty would refuse such a poaching offer without a second thought. However, the other party's conditions were so generous that she could not refuse at all. During this time, Tian Ningning published a few reports about Black's identity based on the facts. Even though the content of the reports was too plain, it still made Black's fans celebrate the new year. Black's fans were surprisingly satisfied, compared to Black's mysterious and low-key past. It was good to see Tian Ningning, a Star Web exclusive reporter who did not release any hard news, occasionally publish one or two insignificant reports. All of a sudden, the Star Web, which had been tranquil yesterday, experienced a huge tremor in just one night. On Star Web, everyone's popularity, including Black's, was suppressed by two young men. One of them was called Lin Yuan, while the other was called Chu Ci. Chu Ci's performance as a lucky spectator in the all-star competition was like a powerful slap to the faces of many people who doubted Chu Ci's strength. This allowed Chu Ci to sit on the throne of the Radiance Federation's #1 genius. He had comprehended 2 willpower runes at a young age and possessed 2 fantasy breed phase. In addition to these hardware conditions, he was also very skilled in combat techniques. When Chu Ci fought Dragon Gate's guild leaders Chen Hongfeng, she had been exceptionally calm and composed. She had not panicked in the slightest. It was clear that her fundamentals were very solid. Coupled with her outstanding looks, Chu Ci's fame skyrocketed. It even gave Chu Ci the vague title of quasi-sequence. Of course, as her reputation soared, her titles of Iron Ox Princess and Iron Ox Valkyrie became more and more resounding. As for Lin Yuan, from his appearance to his contracted phase, everything was a mystery. It could be said that Lin Yuan was a powerful mystery. Mysteries always piqued people's interest. Lin Yuan's mysteriousness aroused the Star Web netizens' desire to explore. Now, many people started to compare Lin Yuan and Black. As they were comparing, they casually pulled over the purchase with no loss store owner, who had previously competed with Black, over as well. Such a comparison caused the fans of the 3 factions to engage in a chaotic battle. After Lin Yuan finished the 2 Celestial Stairway duels, he felt a little awkward when he saw Tian Ningning's post about the dispute between the 3 factions' fans. Lin Yuan could not tell Tian Ningning that all 3 of them were him. What was there to compare? Lin Yuan's 2 Celestial Stairway duels gave Tian Ningning work again. After the 2 Celestial Stairway duels, Lin Yuan did not intend to log into Black Star Web account in a short time. After dealing with the recent matters, Lin Yuan planned to enter seclusion and strive to become a B-rank spirit chi professional. During this period, Lin Yuan had been busy with all sorts of things and did not have much time to continuously enhance phase. He would use this to increase his strength. Lin Yuan was determined to increase his spirit chi professional rank to B rank before the Radiance 100 sequence. This way, the speed at which he enhanced phase could greatly increase. It allowed him to have more capital to rapidly increase the phase grade and quality. By then, he would be able to go to the Creation Master Association to take the Class 3 Creation Master exam and see if he could become a Class 3 Creation Master. During this period of time, Genius had been learning about Class 3 Fey Observer, Class 3 Spiritual Ingredient Analyst, and Class 3 Scholar on the Star Web. When it was time to take the Class 3 Creation Master exam, Lin Fan would have to be prepared. He still planned to choose the Class 3 Spiritual Ingredient Observer, Class 3 Spiritual Ingredient Analyst, and Class 3 Scholar Lifestyle Class Spirit Chi Professional exams as his prerequisites. After logging into Star Web as a Creation Master, he put on the strange mask with the majestic Sky City pattern. He then entered his purchase with No Loss Star Web Store to check the amount of Aurora Pollen he had exchanged for with the flower brocade pearls. News of the Heavenly Maiden grade elemental pearls had spread. As a result, the harvest of Aurora Pollen this time was 5 times higher than he expected. Of course, this was mainly because spiritual ingredients like Aurora Pollen had a certain circulation in the market and weren't very rare. When Lin Yuan saw the large amount of Aurora Pollen, he felt that this transaction alone would be enough for the 30 angelfish of bliss to eat for 3 years. However, after the female angelfish of bliss gave birth, there would be many mouths crying piteously for food. The female angelfish of bliss gave birth to a lot of children, but the low survival rate caused them to be so rare. Lin Yuan had the Mountain River Eternal Life Carp's exclusive skill and didn't have such concerns. Therefore, Lin Yuan once again chose to use the flower brocade pearls to exchange for the Aurora Pollen. In fact, Lin Yuan's goal of hoarding a large amount of Aurora Pollen within a short period wasn't simple. The Aurora Pollen's function was a kind of food, and very few creation masters would use it to concoct spirit fluids. If Lin Yuan hoarded a large amount of Aurora Pollen, it would definitely cause its price to increase. If the Aurora Pollen's value increased, it would increase the price of nurturing the angelfish of bliss. This would have a direct impact on the Sea of Bliss, which was a veteran faction that nurtured the angelfish of bliss. The second was even worse. End of this chapter. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.